Have you ever felt a slap but also feels like you were penetrated?
It's typically not politically motivated.
Did you say 4.5-inch wiggles?
Wait, I can't jerk off this horse on YouTube anymore?
How did you survive?
I found pictures of puppies on Taco's hard drives. Hot dogs strutting floozy.
Oh my God. When's the last time we recorded? Jack, it's been so long.
It's been a while.
It's good to have you back.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Are we rolling right now?
What? Yeah, dog.
We're always rolling.
That's always what we do.
Oh, now the pressure's on.
Yeah, now it's
Unsubscribe
on.
never stops. It never.
We can do it.
It's been a while since we cracked one, I think, right?
What? We do it every time, right?
2, 1. No, the last podcast. We haven't recorded in
Dean
3 weeks?
Cain the last
Oh
one?
God. It's been a minute.
We did crack for Dean Cain, though.
We did. No, we always crack. It's just the last time we recorded.
did crack for Dean Cain. Yeah. I get that on a t-shirt.
I loved him in Rat Race. I loved him in that movie.
I forgot he was in Rat Race.
Some of his
man.
best work.
Was he?
I've never seen
Yeah,
Rat
he played the
Race.
cheating boyfriend.
No
She
shit.
flies the helicopter down and she's screaming at him from the helicopter.
That's the one with Mr. Bean in it, right?
Yeah.
And he
Rat
actually
Race was
talks.
one of those movies that came out and then they played it like on TBS, 3 times a day for about 5 years straight.
TNT.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Unsubscribe podcast. I am joined today by Mr. Eli Double Tap, the always beautiful Jack Mandaville, Brandon Herrera, and myself, Donut Operator. We're going to talk about Assassinations.
Why?
Why?
Did something happen?
Did something happen, Jack?
We just play like we recorded this before. We didn't know. What? Totally wasn't for clickbait and actually capitalize on the situation.
For no reason in
Never.
particular.
It's just the thumbnail is just Eli like this. Someone tried to shoot him?
Well, you guys always get tagged on Twitter, but Twitter is like, so talk about this. I was like, what? Why? We're retards.
Yeah.
Why the f you in our pin?
Yeah.
I can't wait. I just want to with people at a certain point when they just come in like, dude, did you see somebody try to shoot Trump? And I just want to reply, nah, I don't watch Game of Thrones.
That's what I want to. That's what I want to do. Like 2 weeks from now, I just want to tweet. Somebody tried to shoot Trump.
Bro, have you
Just
seen the news?
Yeah. I did the worst thing possible when that happened too. I went straight to Twitter or X. I went straight to X to get everyone's take 30 seconds after it happened, and with no information whatsoever other than pure speculation on the internet.
I'm just glad it really brought us all together and didn't cause a massive divide in the country. Is what I'm most proud of.
What's funny is that on Twitter or X, like it was actually 30 minutes after it happened, it was way less of a than a day later. A day later is when everybody decided that
Started
they were
coming up with their theories and-
ballistics experts.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
who've never touched a gun in their life were like, well, that was obviously a piece of glass and not a bullet. And like, how?
If a 5.56 would have hit his ear, his head would have exploded. We all know that. The damage, the sheer pressure.
They all became protection experts. They all became ballistics experts. Yeah.
Well, there was that one viral tweet on Twitter. He was a Marine. He was a Marine. He was like, I'm a combat Marine. I've been there before. If a 5.56 hits you, it destroys everything around it.
There's a
not a
reason they
combat
had
Marine.
to. He's like, there's a reason they had to identify those kids by DNA only. You saw that?
No, I just remembered both of these guys Marty is in the background right now. He'll be on. They both got shot in basic training by 5.56. He's the other one that got shot in basic training. Marty
Lord,
exploded.
how did you survive?
Me, Marty Skovlund, and Donald Trump, we rocking this boat together, boys.
You've got the 5.56 teardrop tattoos together.
It's a very like the whole bullet though.
He got shot by a saw too, right? Oh, just a normal rifle.
The same round,
Yeah.
pussy.
3-round burst.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, his is good. We'll get that story. Oh, I forgot about that. And I looked over. I was like, good story.
You'll
for
never
later.
see so much scarring without a Purple Heart as you will in this room right now.
Dude,
Yeah.
right? That shows you all three of us have been shot by 5. Well, I got 7.62, but like bounce. We don't have massive scars.
Do you have any spare Purple Hearts you could give Marty and I?
He already
Yeah.
gave them all to Brandon.
Yeah. Brandon.
We
took
got to
them.
get you a Medal of Honor, dude.
I don't think we do.
We got Clint's coming.
Oh, great. Yeah, no, he's got spares.
When's he coming?
He's trying to do next month.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I've got a good Medal of Honor guy if
Yep.
you want one. He can do all the branches.
Dude, it's gonna be a Medal of Honor recipient and Clint Romachet. I already know the title for that.
I hate that title.
And Brandon's just gonna be like,
I love how that went from like just like a small inside joke to now like everywhere on the unsub Reddit. There's just like pictures of me photoshopped in like North Korean generals with like an entire chest full of medals.
And the best part is AI. Now when AI ChatGPT makes you because it has to comb the internet, it's like he is a soldier. That's why it puts dog tags on you.
Dear God.
Did you ever think about that?
No.
I was like, oh, the AI actually is like Brandon is a U.S. soldier, Army veteran, Medal of Honor.
Well, at least we're not at Skynet yet.
Or it happens and wipes out everyone. They leave you alive. You're like, you are a true hero. What do you want to do next?
Well, dude, it's so funny. We were generating those images on ChatGPT the other day, and I was just like generating all my friends. Like, of course, you're in like Battle Rattle, and like showed me because I'm military in Battle Rattle. I searched Brandon, and it showed him in a plate carrier and camo, dog tags. Like, yes, this is awesome.
My favorite part was that you had like a flamboyant gun, like your current haircut, tattoos.
It gave me a pink, like it gave me like an uwu gun, didn't it?
Yeah.
So
That's on brand.
I know AI,
It's shockingly close.
and same for veteran Brandon.
Shut up.
Marty's like,
I was
have
here
no
because we were
idea.
going to talk about an assassination, damn it.
Oh,
dude.
dang it. Okay,
Bro.
So this is Jack. We text Jack today. We were sitting at lunch. We were going through everything, and then text you, and we all agree like, "Yo, Jack would be good." We text you, and you're like, "I've been doing research on all the assassinations. Like, we're doing a podcast today.
Yeah.
Everyone good? Everyone good?" Like, yep. And then you.
I was
find
doing
out.
research on assassinations, and by God, somebody beat me to it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was just doing a little research material for what.
Jesus Christ.
And that's it. This
do
is
we
gonna be
cut
a
that?
2-second reel.
Do we cut that? Oh, great.
So
It just cuts to the Zapruder film.
Dude, starting, we can all go over like. First off, cold barrel, all that stuff. It's not. That's a hard ass shot if you're with a cold barrel and a red dot and the bullets. You're not grazing somebody's ear on purpose.
Well, especially
with that rifle.
if you have a shitty DPMS, which he had you had a zero magnification on that, like a shitty little red dot, and you're a 20-year-old retard with the muscle mass of a high school cheerleader. Missing that shot is really not a surprise.
Someone said was it DPMS, right?
Yeah, it was
that
a
is like a
DPMS
2
rifle.
to 3 minute MOA rifle.
I mean, that was like PSA before PSA, which is funny because they're owned by PSA now. But
So that minute of angle means MOA is 1 is your standard. You like 101 is a good AR.
which means it's 1 inch at 100 yards, 2 inches at 200 yards.
Yeah, and then that means if you have a 2 to 3 MOA at 100 yards, you have a 2-inch any which way like shot group that's going to happen.
Yeah, if you're 3 inch at 100 yards, then you're like what, 4.5 at 150?
Yeah, literally 4.5. So you have a 4.5 inch wiggle room.
That's a good size.
And
Some would say too much, frankly.
Yeah. You don't want to hurt the poor girl,
Did you say 4.5-inch wiggles?
but it is 4.5 inch playroom on a 2 MOA red dot that is taking up a majority of a head at 150 yards. So
Basically, if you had dialed in like a laser, you have 4.5 inches of play.
this is a
If
robot.
if you are like locked down, zero variation from the shooter at all or the optic.
And that's without the 7 to 10 mile per hour crosswind
Yeah.
going into account. So a robot shooting perfectly would still, it could go any which way on that. So just the idea, just so you all understand how ballistics work and at that distance, how difficult it would be to just nick a ear.
I saw somebody comment. They said this is the first time a low left shooter won someone an election. the Captain America. So you whiffed it low left. For those who don't know the shooting community, shooting low left is like a meme. It's like what every inexperienced shooter does is they whiff it low into the left.
Anticipate recoil, and then trigger pull. All those little, and take that into account. It's like trigger pull, breathing. It's not an easy shot to do. It is if you're trained, but also you'd need a sniper rifle to nip an ear.
If you wanted to do it like nick the ear on purpose, that's damn near impossible with that setup.
Yeah, exactly. So so that's clear. Now, absolutely bananas that all that happened, period.
Yeah.
We were just hanging out, I think, right before. Then we got home, and I think one of you, were we hanging out that day?
I think so. Yeah. We got home and then it was like, I don't know, 6 p.m. Like my phone explodes. And I thought it was a joke at first. And sure enough, like, oh,
Same. Where were you? Were you just like, what the fuck?
I was visiting an old dear friend of mine that I served in the Marines with, and he's currently a 10th group guy, so he's got some years of combat experience under him. We both kind of, while nobody had any information on what was going on, but we both kind of said to each other, if you look at historically these assassination attempts or successful assassinations, it's typically less politically motivated, more they're just pure nut jobs. We still don't know what this guy's deal with. We're finding out more about him, but like historically,
that's never stopped anyone before. Keep going.
No, I mean historically speaking, when you look at people that have attempted the lives of U.S. presidents or have successfully done it, it's typically not politically motivated. They're just nuts.
Well, how else is Jodie Foster going to pay attention to me?
Exactly. Yeah. No, that hot dog strutting floozy.
Now we're just gonna put Jodie Foster in the thumbnail too.
Yeah.
Random attack on Jodie Foster,
Yeah.
successful.
She watches. She's a huge fan. She replies. She's like, "F you, Jack Mandaville." Like, wow.
Something tells
damn.
me Jodie Foster does not watch Unsubscribe. Maybe she does. Jodie, what do you think?
Yeah. Just be aware of your friends who love J.D. Salinger. That's all I got to say.
Which one was that?
He wrote Catcher in the Rye.
Reagan. Oh, no. Yeah, I know that part. But that was
really?
That was
Was
Reagan's.
that? Oh no, was that? I thought that was the John Lennon assassination.
Both
Really?
Catcher in the Rye, yeah.
God, catch it. Somebody needs to start figuring that book out.
Yeah, that
let's
book
burn
really,
some books.
yeah.
I didn't want to go there. I stopped myself about halfway through that sentence, but I'm glad you finished.
Yeah.
Also, Cody plays a Nazi here this week.
Hi.
Burn books.
I lost my locket, but I can still burn some books.
Yeah, we got Tiny Guns 3 coming out here in a couple days, right?
Yeah,
By the time this comes out, maybe tomorrow.
this will come out tomorrow, and then this is like a Wednesday release, and then this is a fast turnaround. Shout out to Dave Reardon for turning it around. Boy's
Yes.
a monster. Shout out to you two for showing up too on that quick.
Can I give a shout out to Dave Reardon? Have you ever noticed with Dave? He's the best at leaving comments in the comment section. I don't think there's anybody that's as funny in the comment section as Dave Reardon is.
Never mind, on IG he's king at that stuff.
He's so good at just saying something snarky at the right time.
I posted a picture of me in the new car, and his response was like, "Does it come in men's?" I was like, "You, Dave." I don't even got a response.
There was Justin Governal. If anyone doesn't know Justin, he's really big into dog rescue. Justin Governal commented on a post I was on recently, and Dave commented as the podcast. He goes, "We will give you $10, or we will give $10 to a dog shelter if God." What did he say? God, I just ruined this.
This is really
You're
good.
doing great.
Sorry, no, hold up. Now I gotta look it up. I gotta look it up now. Oh, geez, I'm so sorry. I just
In
made
reality,
the show.
so Justin Governal is a friend of ours, the Naked and Afraid guy and everything like that. But he's super into dog rescue because I think he secretly fights them.
Yeah.
It's Hispanic, it's in our blood.
He's a
He
fighter.
wants to fight. Yeah, he's an MMA fighter.
He literally fights the dog.
He fights
like,
the
"I
dog.
love
He doesn't.
Governal says
He doesn't make the dog fight each other. He fights the dog.
He gets naked. Like,
Governor says, "What's your policy on gay abortions?" And Dave replies, "We will donate $10 to a local dog shelter if you unfollow us."
That's really funny.
Jesus.
He's ever since I've known him. Like if Dave Reardon makes a comment in any type of corporate post or a personal post, it's gonna be funny.
Dude, Dave he's our thumbnail guy. He has like changed. That dude is absolutely amazing at thumbnails that none of us knew for a majority.
And so every time a video doesn't get the views we want it to, we blame Dave.
You got that, Dave?
That was the big that's the holdover joke over in the old Drinking Bros days. Just blame Dave.
Blame Salty Dave.
That's why it's so
what-
salty.
That's one thing we
Drinking
can
Bros.
always agree on is we can always blame Dave.
He's editing this too. So he's gonna, God damn it.
Love you, Dave. Drinking Bros gave him PTSD. Now we got to deal with him. But he does make the best thumbnails.
He's killing it. He's
Great
killing
editor.
it. Okay, we're about to go into this assassination history. We're about to. Tiny Guns 3. This is prepping for it. They've got to watch. We got to watch a rough, almost final rough, but it is
Good.
Holy shit. I've seen the first rough, the second rough, and you're like, when you edit, when you do anything like that, you have to take a step back and be like, it'll get there. It's place holding sound, music. Holy shit.
It was shot great. Who shot that?
Corridor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were some bits, like, because I saw a very rough where no CGI, no sound design, any of that. And there were certain bits where I'm like, all right, well, I'll trust the process, trust the science, so to speak. But I'm like, this is kind of a little drawn out. Like, I really hope this is funny in the final cut. And once I saw what they did with it, I was laughing my ass off. Like, it was well done.
Dude,
the reveal with your character, I won't give it away, obviously, but the reveal with your character is phenomenal.
That's pretty good, dude. And all of our friends were there too,
And
man.
the death.
You
Your
haven't seen
death
his
is
death.
fucking amazing.
It's pretty good.
Dude, his death. You should actually, how long is that? Just show the death to Jack really quick.
Oh,
I saw the rough cut.
I showed him my death.
Okay. The violent one?
Oh,
Yeah, Jake was over. He showed us the rough cut. Yeah.
Dude,
Bro, we had us, we had administrative results, we had Garantham, we had
Micah.
Fat Electrician, we had Micah,
Scott, Kentucky Ballistics.
Caleb Francis.
Yeah, Caleb Francis. We had, dude, everyone was
everyone in that space was there acting, killing it too. It was
Demolition Ranch was my Nazi buddy.
Which, I mean, Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
good time to bring him up.
I was going to say that.
yeah.
With all the shit going on with him right now, I'm like, I just thinking in the back of my mind. So for those who don't know, and we'll get into this later because this is its own ordeal. The guy who took the shot in Pennsylvania on Trump was wearing a Demolition shirt. Again, motive and everything is a completely different story. But like, Demolition was in the headlines for some not great reasons, and then on Twitter everybody was going crazy because he just posted that selfie a month ago when they were dressed as SS officers, like, oh, he's apolitical, huh? And I'm just in the back of my head, I'm like, can we post tiny guns? Because it's in a vacuum, this is really bad.
You get to see how dumb people are when they just assume, like, we're not just wearing, Marty, we're not wearing SS costumes for fun. Just so you know,
Well,
you're eyeballing me over here like, bro, why wasn't I invited?
Yeah, I showed up in mine. They got mad at me.
Yeah, Marty looks Aryan as dude.
Tall, blonde, blue eyes.
Jawohl.
But it was, people just don't separate the idea. Reading comments, it's like, well, they should at least, they didn't have to be an all proper Nazi outfits. They could have done like one-offs instead. And you're like, what? You're doing a piece where Nazis are getting killed. No one's going to cry about that.
That's the joke. That's the whole joke of the video is you're killing Nazis.
Yeah, we don't rewrite history because you're uncomfortable with a word or imagery that pops up, especially when it's not like it's for a film. That's like being mad at Tarantino for everything he does.
I just don't understand people like not being able to separate. Like, yeah, it was for a bit. Like they were acting. Are you just like you're getting mad at the guy who played Jeffrey Dahmer? Like, it's irritating. Like the low IQ.
I still hate the guy who played Corporal Upham in Saving Private Ryan. I'll never get over that shit.
That's fair though.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a good actor.
He really did his job well. I want to beat the shit out of Corporal Upham.
It's like Joffrey from Game of Thrones. That dude got so much hate.
Oh my God,
That's why
that
he's
poor-
quit acting
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
He was like, after that, I was good.
Hey, you did a really good job.
Well, luckily
people
he-
are going to hate you.
Luckily, he gets to quit acting after a really nice HBO paycheck for a few years. So that's at least kind of nice.
Yeah, he's set for a long time.
Well, you know what I love? Like, the Harry Potter kid, what's his name?
Radcliffe? Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah, Daniel Radcliffe. That dude was set up with basically generational wealth by the time he turned 18. What I love about that guy, hey, he's a really good actor. So he does this big, box office franchise for his entire childhood. And now that he's just got money, he just takes the weirdest roles. He just
love
does
it.
the weirdest movies because he
dead
doesn't
body.
need the money.
Swiss Army Man.
Yeah, he just does the weirdest roles because like, I don't need the money. I just got to have fun with this.
Yeah, Swiss Army Man. What was it? The Guns Akimbo.
Guns Akimbo.
Yeah.
Like just stupid premises, but he has so much fun with it.
Yeah, he's he literally gets to act purely for fun at this point.
That's living.
That's living. Yeah. Also, he didn't have a childhood because he was on film sets, his entire childhood. So
He's set up for a long time.
he's good. He's set up as far as, he's not one of those weird child actors. He's done very well.
And then Demo. Oh, but going back to like the Nazi stuff. Demo does not deserve. Like Demo is one of the kindest humans we know. He's just driven by. He's motivated. He's a veterinarian. He's trying to help others. He like
That's how his whole operation, the YouTube started, was veterinarian stuff, right?
off.
Well,
the
he's
ranch
got
and-
a separate channel, Vet Ranch.
Yep.
Which had like a couple million subs back in the day, but YouTube cracked down on it because it was graphic content. Even though it was like, he's like, dude, we blur anything that's super crazy, but like I'm saving animals.
Wait, I can't jerk off this horse on YouTube anymore?
We used to be a proper country.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I've never watched his veterinarian channel.
Man, this is his 52 versions of this video.
I'm not 100% confident that wasn't one of the videos he put up. I don't know.
I make a horse come. Number 8.
He's the most wholesome dude ever, man. He's the best of us.
When he's
to be
not with a
completely
horse.
honest. Yeah, when he's not making horses come. But
Hey, that's just work, baby.
His first time cussing, like I think he said a slip up one time, but Unsub was the first time he ever cursed. Period on
the
YouTube.
internet.
Yeah, on
Yeah.
on the internet. Yeah.
I mean, he's
No,
he's
I saw those white robes in his closet, so yeah. Just kidding. I've had 2 conversations with him. I don't know him.
But he's a good dude. Like everyone on this side will verify just
That's-
unfortunate circumstance that happened.
That's the irritating part because I'll say this about I'll say it about Carricker and I'll say it about Scott from Kentucky Ballistics. Like they are the best of us. They are the most wholesome, just family men. They don't really get political. They don't do anything. Like the most Matt has ever gotten political, I think, was helping me out during my campaign, and because we're homies.
Yeah.
Like that was the most he's ever gotten political because like and
People do that, by the way, where like, I'm sorry for interrupting
No,
you.
go for
People do that. Like they just want, if you're friends with someone, and even if you don't like agree with their politics, if you're homies with someone, you're like, I want my friend to succeed. That's it. It's that simple.
Yeah, and like
It's a concept.
people actually used to get pissed at him because, or a lot of them still do because they're like, he never supports, he never goes outspoken about 2A rights and the Constitution and stuff like that. And I'm like, my defense for him has always been, he's the beginning of the funnel.
Yeah.
You know, like you have to get people interested before you start screaming. Like that shit's super important, but before you can scream at somebody about my Constitution, my rights, this, get him interested. The John Wicks, the Call of Duties, things like that make people think guns are cool and they want to start looking into it. Like that shit is how you get people into the Second Amendment in the first place.
Think
It's
you're
like,
talking to a girl or parents for the first time. You're trying to introduce them to something. I'm not going to show Brandon Herrera's assassination video, which stay tuned.
well, I think you should, frankly.
But that's like the first video. You're like, hey, check it. This guy's really cool. You're like, okay, this is him assassinating Martin Luther King.
That's a speech check right there.
Babe,
I
where'd
mean,
you
if
go?
you pass that,
I just like guns because of what they can do to people.
And what's that?
I'm not gonna make that joke.
I don't know what it's called. I just know the
Yeah.
sound it makes when I take
just
a man's
know
life.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But yeah,
Oh,
demo.
I just know the sound it makes when it nicks a man's ear. but of course, that was fake because
Oh,
the
yeah.
experts on Twitter told me.
He cut himself with glass, right?
It was a piece of glass that went flying by, I think. Either
I've-
that or it was a blood packet that he smeared on his ear. That's what I
Regardless,
heard.
I've seen shrapnel do more damage to people than bullets have. So, I mean, either way, that was not a good situation to be in.
No.
Either way, like no matter what it was, like there was a gunman at about 130 yards that fired multiple shots at the former president and current presidential candidate of
Who
the
is
United
also
States.
wearing a Demolition Ranch T-shirt.
And then he got screwed. Well, it's stepping back on that.
Wait, what was that last bit?
Sorry. Modifying that because Matt's going through a shitstorm. That's like the main thing I wanted to take away.
Yeah.
Like, the history on assassination. I'm glad you did research on that shit. It is a one-off. It's very rare to happen in our lifetime. Is
40 years ago was the last time. Over 40 years
Reagan,
ago.
right?
Reagan, yeah.
Yeah.
and that's ridiculous. And then, everyone said it was. Demo woke up to I seen the shooter's name, Trump's name, and then his own name being all mentioned in the same article. And homeboy's just like, and then you have individuals like, when's the last time you talked to the shooter? He has a militia now, apparently, because his name is Demolition. The Demolition.
Hey, look,
That's-
it's perfectly normal to read the comments section when you have about 8,000 comments and try to get to know every single person that's commenting on your videos.
8,000's cute. He's probably like,
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Yeah. But I only watch him for his horse jerk off videos, all right?
Surprisingly fewer comments on those videos.
Jack replying to himself. He's time stamping the segment.
It's a thread of one. It's Jack Mandaville 1, Jack Mandaville 2.
That guy seems a little nuts. Like he might try to shoot the president or something. Yeah.
Yo, 658, man.
Jesus Christ. No, but that's what got me kind of militant about it is because they the media. I saw a couple of articles where they described the demolition, which is not a thing. That's just like a slang word for the people who watch Demolition Ranch videos. Like, oh, hey, the demolition. It's like your group of people, your audience. It's not a militia.
He's not.
Described
He's
it
not
as,
training in northern Michigan with a bunch of insulin needing fat dudes in the woods.
But they were just saying it's a right wing militia based out of Texas. It's like, no, you retard. You didn't even so much as Google it.
He created the name and he just like put it out. I forget how he's like, oh, this, and then the response was like, oh, that's it. That is all. That's how that name.
He was like, this sounds cool. That's all there was to it.
There is no actual demolition. There's nothing. And it's just it's the shitty reporters. But yeah, I saw multiple articles do that. So that's why I kind of went on the warpath about it. Because it's like, dude, this is my friend. And when people go after my friends for bullshit, yeah, no, I'm gonna be more hateful than they are.
Oh yeah, and that's what I love about all the guys. It's like the bro community, the community down here. Everyone just has each other's back when it's like overstep that line. It's like, oh. Ooh,
it's like when they went after Wendigoon.
Oh, dude, I'd never seen someone.
the Labrador Retriever.
Yeah. He's a what is it? It's a golden retriever pup that is adorned by a pack of wolves.
Yeah.
It's like weird.
Wendigoon is. Do you know Wendigoon?
I've seen that he's been on y'all's show.
He is one of the nice, most wholesome dudes, and then people went at him for a couple random stuff. But you have all the boys.
Is he a Twitcher?
No, he's just YouTube. You would love him. He's a history/book nerd.
Oh, really? Oh,
nth degree. Like
that Twitch community seems like super toxic.
Oh yeah.
I only know about it from like I read their controversies on X.
We're all like,
yeah,
but we're the toxic ones.
No, I see these controversies happen on X. It seems like a place where everyone just wants to burn each other.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
they're the least happy with themselves out of any community I've ever seen. It's like it's where Tumblr went to live stream.
Yeah,
I was telling Marty on the way in here. I was like, for the first time in like years, I looked at the comment section on YouTube when you told me to, and I said the unsubscribed community is like really positive. It creeps me out how positive these people are. It's a really supportive place, man.
I don't trust them.
Yeah,
that's what you got. Like I have a text. It's one of my favorite Jack text.
It felt nice
about that. You like actually read it.
I read like 4,000 comments. I was like, these are all positive. What the f- going on? What kind of YouTube is this?
It's crazy. My favorite Jack text was a video of Matt Carricker jerking off a horse. But hey,
it's to me that's a Hall of Famer video right there.
You didn't have to keep sending it.
It's Carricker jerking off the horse, the frickin' Star Wars kid in the garage, and the shoes thing.
Oh, we'll get into the shoes thing.
Oh, right here. Yeah. Thank you for having me on. I did what you said and read the comment section and ended up leaving my first comment ever on YouTube. And it's just being a positive one. I've just filmed another. Eli told me to check out the comment section this episode. And I was told it did well. I've been popping up on YouTube, sketching, podcast, film, blah, blah, blah. I just want to thank you for having read that one story you did. But everyone.
Thank you guys so much. And here's a video of Matt Carricker jerking off.
Timestamp.
Get to the good part.
Yeah.
Let's skip to the good part.
But yeah, it is. We are blessed with an amazing community.
Oh man, those live shows you guys did. Yeah, holy moly, man. Just you get into a little silo when you do stuff on the internet a lot, and whether you're making videos or writing articles, you don't really see people's react. All you can do is read the comment section, but it's not a really good gauge of reality. So. Those live shows were a true testament to the community you guys have built and the community itself.
Yeah, we're going to have to make sure that we're definitely going to be doing more live shows here at the end of the year. We're just going to have to make sure that they're nowhere near sloped rooftops.
Out in the open.
Just because there's a lot of people that will probably take it as a challenge at this point.
Stay out of Allegheny County, boys.
Jesus.
I can't wait.
Fucking hell. This is going to be one of the podcasts
This is going to be one of the most political podcasts. Also, I read.
I mean, it's really not.
No, but dude,
happened.
it was weird going outside the community and seeing other comments. It was like, oh, how do other communities view unsub? It's like, oh, they're super political. And I was like,
No.
that dude has never watched a single episode. That is what we pride ourselves on that one thing. Even Brandon running. I love that. You were running and we still
like we were running for I was running for office and we still did the podcast the entire time, and I would briefly mention like shit from the campaign trail, like whatever, but I wasn't sitting here like, and that's why we need to like, I never used it as a
I like how you just went full millennial, and instead of turning into a proper, perfect politician, you just like kept doing this podcast and leaned into it even more.
I had so many people asking me, so they're like, so you get into office, you're going to stop the podcast, right? And I'm like, no. Why?
Right. We're not talking politics.
And we're
talking about people jerking horses off, man.
And they had to spend $10 million to barely stop a YouTuber from getting in. That's my favorite thing. It's like that will be a crowning achievement till the day I die.
Oh yeah.
That's real power when you think about it.
Yeah, it's that was a shot off the bow that hopefully District 23 realizes, but also I think this is going to be a political case study for a long time because this changed a lot.
Well, we're going to see too, and I mean, it's anyone is motivated in politics. They don't have to come from the normal route like they used to, where you go to law school and you do this and do that. And again, in American history, we've had actors and musicians become political leaders, but you're going to see it's going to be a thing. YouTubers will start doing this, and they will leverage their online popularity to get votes.
Yeah, and that's something that if I could get on the soapbox real quick for just one thing, just about what the implications are for that, is I said it at the very end of my campaign. I'm like, this is the beginning of open source politics.
Yeah,
the big money doesn't matter as much as it used to. They outspent me 10-1, spending about $10 million to shut off a YouTuber. That is incredible. That means that the deep state money doesn't spend like it used to, and that the traditional media sources that they can just throw money at don't have as much of an impact as a social media campaign. And that scares the dog shit out of them.
And to your credit, you hit the campaign trail. You were you were moving.
Both. Yeah.
We were like April, there was a 20-day period where I had 30 events in 20 days or something like that. Like I was doing multiple events per day all over a district that's like 7-8 hours wide.
Yeah.
Mr. Beast announced that if they lowered the age, he would run for president. But I'm wondering if he continues on his path, if he does that, period. Because Mr. Beast, if he ran for president,
he would. I don't think he would win. Like if he ran right now, he would come nowhere close to winning. But he would probably pull more than RFK.
He could.
I'm dead serious.
He could Ross Perot an election and disrupt.
everything.
Yeah. That's a good pull. Ross Perot is a very good
perfect.
pull.
You're a billionaire philanthropist that was also a soldier. He was
I don't know.
a veteran.
I don't know. I know that he did a lot of stuff for veterans. He had a huge nonprofit. I forget what it's called, but Ross
Wrote
Perot.
some books and
No, but Ross Perot, like, if Ross Perot didn't exist, George H.W. Bush would have won a second term. He pulled a lot of Republican votes. I'm sure maybe some Democrat votes too, but he disrupted it for George H.W. Bush.
He was a very big financial, like fiscal conservative. And so he would buy his own airtime on TV and just like stand in front of a fucking whiteboard. He's just like, now listen here, this can't stand. Like just bought his own,
billionaire. And
he was like, he was kind of like Ron Paul, Bernie Sanders. He was the predecessor to the Ron Paul, Bernie Sanders revolutions.
Yeah. Like on paper, he was the Trump without the mass appeal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the 2016 election was the first time in American history where both candidates had 100% name recognition.
Yeah.
If you think of previous candidates, they would come up at the last second. People had to learn about them. Everybody knew who Hillary Clinton was, and everybody knew who Donald Trump was.
Oh, yeah. I never thought about that. Yeah. Holy shit. Yeah. Coming up in any of these before it was not known. Now
Obama popped out at the last second. People know who George Bush was because of his family, but I mean,
actually, if you think about it, every single election since then has been the same.
Yeah,
I think that's
Biden
gonna
because
be
he was
going
vice
forward.
president. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
And then
moving forward, you'll
again-
always have that precedence now. Like the general audience or the general populace will know who they are.
It's like anything. It's like the publishing industry, the movie industry. Nobody wants to take a chance on what they don't know anymore. They just go for the surefire thing.
Politics is
18.
Politics is following Hollywood. We're getting the Biden versus Trump sequel.
Yeah. It's just like, well, this is the franchise I'm familiar with. It makes money.
Jesus Christ.
No, I hate that more than anything. No, no,
You want change? You.
no. DEI.
You got this 40-year-old with really a lot of energy and great ideas. You're gonna have to wait at least 30, 40 years.
We need them old, ancient. Okay.
Well, I mean, you got JD Vance that's coming in at 39 as a vice president. That's pretty young.
Yeah, that is. I don't know if that's the youngest, but that's pretty
One of the
young.
one of the youngest. Definitely not the youngest. I don't think.
Ain't
but-
a former enlisted guy? Gross.
Kennedy was the youngest president, right? He was 39 or 41. How old was Kennedy when he?
It's a great question.
Yeah, it would have been late 30s, early 40s.
I think he was the youngest president.
You got the
ever.
nightmare
Marty,
breakup.
is that true?
Ross Perot served in the Navy for 4 years.
Oh, hey, he isn't. Hey, so he was.
Ross Perot was a Navy man. I get it now. My parents are boomers. I would imagine all of our parents are boomers. I get it now when like Clinton came to office, why that was such a big deal, because that was the boomer generation's first time that they had their guy in power. And as millennials, and I'm, even there's Gen X, but they're not real. But like as a millennial, I get it now why my parents' generation were so eager, Republican or Democrat, just to get someone from their generation into power. And I feel like our generation is having to wait longer than usual to have one of ours in power.
Oh yeah.
And these two old guys running for president, it's no different. It's a representation of the American workforce. Like these people will not relinquish their power. They gotta go. Just retire, sit in your recliner, watch Fox News, and die, please.
Jesus Christ.
I'll applaud that.
JFK was 43 when he became
43.
president.
And that was the youngest president ever.
I don't know if it was the
Clinton
truly
was
believe
like
it.
I remember it.
Clinton was
I remember it. Go.
Clinton was in his early 40s, if I recall.
Was he really? He was that young?
Yeah, and Obama, he's a boomer, but he's like a younger boomer. So
I want to say he was like in the mid 40s. Obama.
yeah.
It was
like-
mid 40s.
He was like 47, I think.
They,
Roosevelt was the youngest,
36.
42.
42.
Damn it. So JFK by 1 year. I was wrong.
JFK and
He was 47, yep.
Theodore Roosevelt both have something in common.
They died.
Crazy person shot him.
Jesus Christ.
Let's see. I was right, Brandon. Stop shaking your head.
Well, to be fair,
Everyone
I mean,
dies,
we don't
Brandon.
exactly know if the guy who shot JFK was crazy. Might have just been doing
No,
his job.
so the majority of these attempted or successful political assassinations in American history, like I said, were crazy people. JFK and Lincoln were that leans more on the politically motivated side.
He should have just let the Federal Reserve take over. He'd
Yeah.
still be alive.
Lay
I mean,
down.
not now, but
Lay down and take it like that woman who died in your brother's car and Chappaquiddick. No one's gonna get that reference.
Those are good. Those are the best jokes.
there's gonna be 4 people in the comments like, I get that.
Yeah, you did a Ted Kennedy joke.
It goes to the top. They've been waiting for that. So, what is the first assassination? Well, we'll just do a quick history lesson from Mr. Jack Mandaville.
First successful assassination?
I'm by no means a subject matter expert on this, but coincidentally, a few months ago, I was doing research. We wrote and shot one of the episodes I'm doing for my new history YouTube channel that a few guys around me right now encouraged. No, I'm really thank you guys
I'm
for
so
encouraging.
proud, dude. I'm so proud
I'm
of
so-
you.
we
You
got-
sent roughs, and you you working with.
We got 3 episodes shot. I'm going to do one more. I just want to have some stuff to have just in case I'm traveling or whatever, and then we're going to release. Anyways, I was doing one of the subjects I'm doing is on Robert Todd Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln's son, who's arguably one of the most unluckiest in American history. But so the first successful assassination attempt was on Abraham Lincoln. We all know what happened there. But that was politically motivated. John Wilkes Booth, his assassin, was purely politically motivated.
Which is wild because like the rest of the assassination that
It was a
supposed to
conspiracy.
go down,
There were a few of them involved with that.
the only person who followed through with it was John Wilkes Booth.
John Wilkes Booth.
Because they were supposed to take out Stanton,
Yep.
right? Stanton,
That was
the vice president.
That was a. He tried, but he just wasn't successful with it. Yeah. And
What
then
happened?
One guy
Rewind.
got
I don't
cold
know.
feet.
They were trying to take out the entire cabinet, essentially.
Yeah.
No
It was a
shit.
conspiracy. There's
This is like a coup, an actual coup.
Yeah, so I think there was 8 or 9 people that went to trial, and I think like 8 of them were hung for it. But it was a pure conspiracy that was led by a actor of all people. And by the way, the Booth family,
Apparently famous.
they were acting royalty. Like I don't know what the modern equivalent would be. Like who's like they were
Tom Cruise.
The Baldwins.
they were
Well,
were
I
royalty.
mean, the Baldwins did kill someone.
Yeah.
These goddamn actors. dude.
yeah, damn.
And Edwin Booth, the oldest brother, who was by far the most accomplished of
Oh,
all
the
the
Hemsworths. It's like Chris Hemsworth.
Yes, yeah, dude.
Taking out. Yeah,
But Edwin Booth
redacted.
was a pure actor in the sense that he didn't get involved with politics. He stayed out of that stuff. He just was on stage. Where John Wilkes, he got really obsessed about Abraham Lincoln there at the end.
You don't say.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was the first one, politically motivated. The second successful presidential assassination was James Garfield. That was a guy named Charles Guiteau who was batshit crazy. Charles Guiteau was the guy. He worked at a very low level in the administration, but in his head, Garfield had promised him all these cabinet positions and everything. But he was just like a crazy guy that.
Oh, so they actually had zero communication. It's just in his head, all displayed out.
Yeah, he's like the guy that like keeps texting you for like 2 years straight, having a conversation with him, and you never respond. But he thinks that like you're in love with him, and then he drives across state lines to try to hurt you. That's what Charles Guiteau did to James Garfield.
Did he shoot him? I don't even know this one. This is like I've never Googled assassination.
Yeah, he shot Garfield, and Robert Todd Lincoln was there when his dad died, and Robert Todd Lincoln was there for the shooting of Charles Guiteau as well, because he was in the Garfield cabinet.
Didn't he go to try to save somebody at some point? I can't remember what that was.
Someone's son. He got saved off a train track.
That was
yeah.
Edwin Booth saved Robert Todd Lincoln's life like 5 months before John Wilkes Booth assassinated his dad.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Crazy shit.
Dude, that's
you can't
like that- yeah, dude.
They should make a movie about it. Like that's the craziest story
That's
ever.
the real life.
That's like
he's the real life Forrest Gump.
Yeah, that's like if one of the Baldwin brothers like saved Hunter Biden's life, and then one of the other probably Alec because he's already killed, but Alec goes and takes care of Donald. Like what the just happened?
It's like Baron Trump being saved by Stephen Baldwin.
Yeah.
Like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Off the tracks, little hand reaches.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, Robert Todd Lincoln recognized Edwin Booth. Like, this is the most famous actor in America. Back then, they didn't give a who the president's kids were. So Edwin Booth's like, yeah, just save some dude's life. It was the president's kid. And then, so the next successful attempt.
Well, how did he kill? It was just gunshot.
It was gunshot,
head?
yeah. I think he got him in the stomach. And
1800s, you die.
yeah.
Man, yeah.
And that he died of no, that was McKinley. But it took him a while to
like
die.
sepsis?
Yeah. So McKinley died of sepsis.
So back then they tried to amputate your stomach. It didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They literally back in the.
When was McKinley? Like 1910?
McKinley was 18. Oh no, McKinley was like 1901 was his assassination. 1898. He was killed like during the third year of his presidency. Guess who else was there for that?
Yep, 1901.
Robert Todd Lincoln was there for that one too. It was at the World Expo. McKinley he invited Robert at that
I
point.
would never have that guy around anything. I'm
No,
like,
yeah.
this guy's an inside. He's a Clinton at that point.
He's the umbrella guy at the JFK thing. Like,
Literally, it's the Clinton who's like, why is he always there
Yeah.
and people dying?
Yeah. Robert Todd Lincoln, at that point, he had retired he was a very accomplished diplomat, very accomplished. He was the Secretary of War, which was a big position. Very accomplished guy, arguably, other than being president, more accomplished, did more than his father did. But again, like that guy was just a bad luck charm. And he had retired from public life because he's like, there's a lot more shit that happened with him too that I won't even get into. But yeah, he retired from public life. But McKinley's like, hey man, everyone like your old Republican dad. I'm a Republican. Why don't you come out to this expo? And then McKinley got shot.
He's like the slender man of history. He's just
Yeah.
always there in the background of a photo somewhere.
Yeah. And then the guy, the guy who shot McKinley, you could call it politically motivated, but he was like an anarchist and a nut job, because most anarchists are nut job, except for Neil Peart. He's awesome, man. He wrote all them freaking Rush songs. And glittering prizes and endless compromises shatter the illusion of integrity. What the f does that mean? Only Neil Peart knows what that means. Anyways.
And you, Jack.
Yeah.
So wait, that guy was just crazy and...
I mean, he was an anarchist, but
So what was his reasoning behind it?
I couldn't tell you. McKinley.
You'd have to figure out the Rush
If you
song.
want to talk about deep state, McKinley was arguably the first deep state president, because the first American, not the first, but the first big American conspiracy that ever happened was the bombing of the USS Maine and our then involvement in the Spanish-American War. And the conspiracy is that we bombed the USS Maine ourselves so we could justify, because it was U.S. policy. Like, Spain had two strongholds left in our part of the world, Puerto Rico and Cuba, and America was hell-bent. It had been our policy for 80 years at that point that we need to get these European out of our area. And the conspiracy is that McKinley bombed the USS Maine on purpose just so he could justify pushing Spain out of Cuba and Puerto Rico.
Or at the very least, the idea was that, if there was a, cigarette goes in the wrong direction, it blows up anyway. The entire War Department's like,
Yeah.
we're doing that now. They blew it up.
I want to play with these toys. We got Gatling guns now.
The engine blew up. Didn't someone confirm it, or no one confirmed anything? We just talked about that. Like
The accusation was that Spain bombed the USS Maine, but there was no incentive for Spain to do something like that. Their military was already crumbling. Like there's no reason why the government of Spain would have sanctioned a terrorist bombing on a U.S. naval ship.
Don't f with the ships, dude. We learned
Yeah,
that.
don't
with
fuck
the
with
ship.
America's boats.
Yeah.
To be fair, they could have easily said that about Pearl Harbor too. It's like,
Yeah.
why in the would they ever? Jesus Christ!
Why are those white guys flying Rising Sun planes right there? Yeah. Konnichiwa.
It's exactly what they did.
It's Imperial Japan, not modern Japan.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. The Twink Air Force, man.
The Uwu Air Force.
Yeah. Then the next attempted, not non-successful, and it's arguably, I don't want to, everyone's, and I don't mean to make this political, but everyone's all, people that I love Trump are really like, this is the most badass thing ever. I'm like, the most badass thing ever was the attempt on Teddy Roosevelt's life. Nothing comes close to that.
Because didn't it hit the speech?
Yeah. Yep. And they still have the papers from his speech with a bullet hole in it.
Cool.
Hit him in the lower chest or stomach, and that gets right back up, stands up, and says something, I'm paraphrasing, it'll take a lot more than a bullet to kill a bull moose, and finished his speech.
And then didn't get elected.
And the guy who shot him, yeah, exactly. The guy who shot him, a nut job, he was having dreams that President McKinley was telling him to avenge his death by killing Teddy Roosevelt. So that's why he was a shopkeeper, and his name was Shank or Shrank or something like that. You know what Jared told me?
I don't know if I want to hear it after this follow-up on that conversation.
I put my beloved dog down, the love of my life, my dog Taco. I put him down.
Shout out to Taco.
And
Pour one out for Taco.
yeah, I think
Taco's one of the best.
Jared invited me to his place, and I show up to his place, and he goes, "Hey man, I found pictures of puppies on Taco's hard drive."
Oh my God.
That made you laugh.
It completely broke me out of my sadness. I was like, "What the?"
It's like the Rick and Morty. It's like,
Such a good skill. Holy fuck.
let them have the bulldog they remember, not the bulldog he was.
Jesus Christ.
And his dad was sitting right there, and his dad's like,
Jesus Christ.
Oh, it's such a good bit.
Yeah. It did. It made me laugh and took me out of the sadness.
Holy shit, that's one of the best
But that
jokes I've
was
heard in a
slander.
long
My
time.
dog was not a pedophile. I swear to God, man.
I mean, you don't know.
My dog did not look at puppies. I assure you.
Yeah. No, I monitored his freaking computer usage, man. He's like you gotta keep a watch on him.
That's how I found out. What was that? Bulldogs have the up mouths.
Everything's up about it. Yeah.
Like, what the?
It's like
fuck?
it's looking at like an alien autopsy.
I mean, they are British.
That's a good joke too. Yeah, yeah. That's why they have up teeth. They're British.
They're on an island. Their family tree looks like a telephone pole.
Dave, pull up bulldogs. The top of their mouths. They're jacked up.
Yeah,
I should call her.
yeah.
Old Toothy McGee.
Yeah, so Roosevelt was unsuccessful. It's funny you say, like, still lost the election.
Yeah.
That was what, and as you said, he did the entire speech afterwards.
Yeah, he completed his speech and lived.
That's one of the
Roosevelt was a
most
big man. He used to eat like 4 pounds of bacon and like a dozen eggs and a pot of coffee. Like Roosevelt
OMG,
was.
he's literally me.
Oh yeah, Roosevelt was a burly man.
Just funny. Like if you want to lose complete faith in the third, like the idea of a third party, just know that after 2 terms, Roosevelt tried running third party and failed.
Yeah.
Teddy Roosevelt couldn't do it.
Damn. Yeah. And never going to happen.
But hey, Jill Stein might make it.
Get 2% of the votes. It's going to crush it. Can't wait.
2% would be a victory. They'd be letting loose the balloons at midnight.
Yeah.
I hate how true that is.
She's my president in Vermont. Yeah.
So Teddy's probably one of my favorite just for like the Rough Riders though. Was the war? Who did the war on pigs? What is it?
The Bay of Pigs?
The Bay of Pigs.
Oh, that was
That
Kennedy.
was-
That was
yeah.
Kennedy. I was way off. Never mind.
Which that could be. That's part of
also
the
got a
conspiracy
GED.
of why he was killed. The Bay of Pigs was a utter failure. People forget with Kennedy. We glamorize and romanticize him now, and we hold him on this high pedestal. But
Marilyn Monroe romanticized him then.
yes. Oh, and his brother Bobby. Yeah, both those guys were tagging her.
At least they kept it in the family.
They kept it in the family. Yeah, those Kennedy boys. The reason why Kennedy was campaigning so hard in Texas, the reason why he was down here in the first place where he got shot in Dallas was there was a very good chance he might have lost Texas. He had up a lot of things, and his chance at winning re-election was not safe. So he was campaigning really hard. People forget, like, his presidency wasn't that successful. Richard Nixon was a piece of shit, but he had a more successful presidency than JFK did. And I'm not just talking about the time of his presidency. He actually got a lot more done than Kennedy ever did.
That's the stuff because you have like JFK, the moon landing, and what?
Well, JFK, he
Moon
wasn't.
landing was later, I thought.
JFK was.
He started the
Moon
program.
landing was
To
1969.
JFK's credit, he is the one that really
Started the program.
Yeah, he's the
Okay.
one that encouraged our venture into space. So he did do a lot of great things, but the Bay of Pigs was like one of the most colossal ups by an American president ever.
In my opinion, though, some of the best things Kennedy ever did was the things that he didn't do, the things that he blocked. Like a lot of the central banking stuff, a lot of things that he would not allow to continue to go forward, taking us off the gold standard, shit like that.
Which is crazy. You see it a lot that people that come from these aristocratic, generationally wealthy, New England, Northeastern families. Teddy Roosevelt was one of those guys. They're the ones that want to bust the system down the most because they grew up in it. They know how it works. And if you get the right one, a JFK or a Teddy Roosevelt, those people genuinely cared about the common man, and they came from the background to be able to do something about it.
When you say the central banking, that JFK busted or he stopped it, what do you mean by that?
That's actually one of the conspiracies as to why he was, axed. Is he was basically throwing up a big brick wall as far as like taking us off of the gold standard and different things like that had to do with the Federal Reserve.
No shit.
And so whenever you go against the Federal Reserve, I mean, Saddam learned, Gaddafi learned, like, don't with the central bank. You will be replaced very quickly.
See, that's the shit I love learning because I don't know a lot of this stuff. I'm not a huge history nerd. I get you, Nick, Brandon, apparently. Cody, I don't know how much history you go.
A
like,
little bit.
Oh,
Half
but
a cup.
well, you get somewhere. Your guys' knowledge on that shit. I'm like, okay, well, just shut the fuck up.
Hey, it's my
Yeah.
autism. I get to pick the special interest.
Yeah. Well, I don't know shit about cameras. It all equals out.
I got that
Yeah.
all day long. Bro.
I don't know shit about oppressing minorities, and you know,
Cody, king over here.
Yeah, but you guys want to talk about cop stuff and beating up minorities. Here I am.
All day.
But I am actually curious to hear your thoughts about the assassination from your perspective. So, as somebody who's done SWAT and different things like that, like what was your thought on the way that the snipers and counter sniping operations worked there?
fuck, yeah.
I
Or
think
failed maybe.
it comes down to miscommunication between the different people who are there because the Secret Service, they didn't have enough people to watch things. And I'm not blaming it on them completely, but they always bring in local law enforcement to do like all the auxiliary stuff around the outside.
And people forget former presidents don't have the same details that active presidents
Exactly.
do.
And then it's a complete shit show. You're playing the telephone game because not everyone might be on the same radio channel. Like not everyone's communicating properly because you're dealing with just like several agencies. So they probably had a sheriff's department there. They probably had state police there. They probably had local police there, and they're all trying to communicate with the Secret Service.
Hey, get John on the phone.
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
like get this person, there's someone up there, there's someone up there, and then so there was probably like a huge lack of communication going on between all these like 5 or 6 different agencies, federal and local, just like trying to get their shit together.
I mean, my whole thing is that if he was wearing just like a shitty Party City cop outfit with patches and shit, we might be having a different conversation.
Absolutely.
Oh,
if
my
he could have gotten a good rifle up there, not just a red dot.
I mean,
Yeah.
just not having to like the attention that was drawn to him, which caused him to take a hurried shot. Like if you just no counter sniper would take a shot on a guy who's wearing a police uniform without having 100% confirmation.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is don't wear Demolition Ranch shirts when you're doing that shit.
A, it makes you a dick, but B,
It's the same thing as like, you know, in the military, if you're walking around with a clipboard or a wrench and you're walking fast, like you have something to do, no one's gonna fuck with you. Or a ladder. If you're carrying a ladder anywhere and like no
If
one's
you
gonna fuck
own
with you.
that goes for anything. If you own what you're doing, if you just have an air of confidence, most people aren't going to stop you, whether you're security or whatever. You just walk in, say
let's
something.
be really clear here that we're not giving tips.
No, God,
Like-
no. This is, if you want to sham in the military, we got you all day long.
Hey, I know how to give tips, man. I'm an actor. John Wilkes Booth was an actor. We know what we're doing, dude.
I would stop you, Jack.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get that far. I wouldn't get that far. That's a job for Alec Baldwin, right?
Well, it's like the whitest kids you know skit. You remember? You can't say this.
Oh, God, yeah.
But if you put a mortar here, you can get a shot directly into the wire.
Totally illegal, but I can
Totally
tell
illegal.
you that you can't say it.
You can't say that on television, but
It is.
But I can't say from the top of this building because that's its own sentence.
the communication with military. You had when you see overseas, because you don't communicate with any other branch or unit outside your own company. So you're not talking like on radios. You probably experience the same. You don't know what other people are doing. I remember we took rounds overhead. They didn't hit us, and we were just parallel street. They started shooting. We're like, who the is shooting over here? Mark 19s. We heard explosions. 50 cal flying over. We're like, hey, what the? And then we had, I forget how it went. It was like we called up to our command, then they had to relay to the other company or battalion. It was a different battalion.
Yeah.
Like, hey, those are good guys over there. Oh, check your FBCB2. Oh, they're not popping up on our FBCB2. Oh, shit, we won't shoot over there. Sorry.
That's at least nice that you have the luxury, I guess, of not doing near peer, where you can hear it and hear like, oh, that's M2s and Mark 19s. Those are our guys. Let's get on comms right now.
You get really good at distinguishing like friendly
Yeah.
fire from bad guy fire. Right, Marty?
That's what I hear.
You've been in
Marty's
one or two.
done more deployments as a journalist than he has as a freaking as an Army Ranger. That guy, Marty, like, he's one of those journalists that guy, like, was putting himself in the hairy ass shit with just a pen in his hand.
Dude, that. I don't feel. The pen is mightier than the sword until you get shot, period, or stabbed.
That sounds like a quote from a bad swordsman.
Like that, but in war, it's different. And then I imagine at the local level to the federal level, you have no agencies talking. So Secret Service to FBI to CIA to.
And imagine these guys are like the Secret Service details having to deal with like different bum sheriff's departments every week.
Yeah,
who have different standards.
Exactly. And not only that, you probably have like a lot of the brass, like a bunch of sergeants and lieutenants who are like, we want to protect Trump. And they're micromanaging each one of these dudes who are supposed to be on the ground protecting Trump. And there's just nothing going past and nothing getting like rerouted to everyone who needs to know something. All different radio channels, like all different lines of miscommunication. So it was
And to Cody, like to really harp on that, imagine you can't do anything without, if your boss says, do not do anything unless you coordinate with me first. So you can see something, then you have to run that up your chain of command.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like, and I'm not trying to say the wrong thing here, but I feel like I read somewhere on Twitter, which is the source of all information. Someone was saying the snipers, the SWAT team, the local SWAT team was supposed to be on the roof that the shooter was on. And so the counter snipers got confused because they saw someone with a rifle and it just like confused them for a couple seconds there and they didn't know what was going on. And I'm not saying that's real information. I just feel like I read that somewhere, which is understandable because they're like, oh, our guys are supposed to be on that roof. What the is this guy doing?
Why is he wearing a Demolition Ranch shirt?
Well,
I think
because
that
his head was popping over with a rifle and they're like, we don't want to kill a local SWAT guy who's supposed to be on that roof.
Because again, this is super early. It's a little too early to give definitive information. But I heard the same thing that I heard that the building that he was on was the staging building, and cops poured out of it after shots started getting fired.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
that's what I was told. And again, this is all like I could be spreading misinformation, but
This is the
that's
hardest
what I
part
heard.
because take all like do your research. We should start with that. We'll start with that. Actually, Dave just put a clip in there. Do your research before going into this. We're idiots. We're drinking. We started drinking at 12 today.
That journalist over there knows the process of getting that information.
Yeah, Marty's like, I got this on lockdown. But it's understanding each part of this process is difficult. We are just going off of the seat of our pants right now of what we know. We do know the FBI, or sorry, Secret Service agency was the one that said it was too slanty.
It was the
head of
director,
the
the
Secret
director
Service.
of the CIA said that.
No,
Secret
Service.
Secret Service, excuse me.
But they like said the roof was too, the FBI? Wait, the Secret
The
Service?
Secret Service, it was the director, right? Came out today.
Yeah,
Was it yesterday?
Yeah,
last
it was.
night, or
I think it was
today?
yesterday. But yeah, the director of the Secret Service.
Yeah, said
the
roof was
rooftop
too
was
slanted.
too slanted.
And everybody just kept sharing the screenshots of the slanted roofs that the actual counter snipers were on. Like,
how, what? It is amazing. I know when I got it, I had people who were like, oh, this seems staged or whatever. I got text and I was like, that shot's at minimum 100 yards because you're not getting that close.
No.
I was like, at minimum 100 yards. But how the is that a thing? I thought it was going to be even further, but then it's like 150
Yeah, 100 yards is not far away.
Dude, that's basic training. That's the shots. Usually for basic, you have to shoot 40 targets. You get 3 pop-ups at 300 yards.
100 yards is just one throw by Peyton Manning.
Sure.
Yeah.
Can they throw that far? That's a really long throw.
Dude had a cannon on him. What can I say, man?
Well, another thing that hasn't been confirmed yet, but they were saying that the guy was lining up a shot and then police officers climbed up the ladder and saw him and he turned around and pointed his rifle at the police officers. And then the police officers went back down the ladder because they're like, oh shit, there's a guy with a rifle. And then he turned around and started shooting. So he didn't have his shot completely lined up. And that's why he missed so many times. Which also, yeah, it's not confirmed.
It's still that in my head makes sense of a cop popping up and be like, oh, and the guy like points gun, cop goes like this. He just turns, fires off rounds, and then misses by him turning. It just everything miraculously aligned for that one moment to hit him. Because that you've seen the overhead shot, right? I know we've shared it in the groups. It's the line of if he just was looking straight, it would just hit his head or his head versus that turn is the only reason that round missed. And that's absolutely insane.
wild.
Especially on a red dot piece of shit gun. Like insane.
Yeah.
Don't pour shade. It was crazy. It's just an absolute insane experience, and it didn't register until I started watching. Like the next day, it really registered of how crazy that event was. Because in my head, I'm retarded, so I was like, "Oh man, that's a meme." And it was just like everything a meme because the social media, how he was like, fish up.
It certainly was crazy, and I don't want to detract from like how terrible it is for anybody to be thinking of even doing that to a political official. But I think we come from a generation that we've lived our entire lives where that has never been something we thought about. But when you look at the rate of attempted or successful assassinations before this, it was every 15 to 20 years. This was something that was happening.
Because you would have now, there is attempted, and then there is people, they stopped it. They seen like a background. I know Obama had like 3, George Bush had
Those
4.
were threats, but like
Threats.
Gerald Ford, after Kennedy, went through 2 attempted assassinations. One of them, a cult member, part of the Manson family, a crazy person, and that attack was stopped by a former Marine Vietnam veteran named Oliver Sipple. Oliver Sipple saw her name was Froman, Kinky Froman, no. Something Froman, Wiggly Froman, one of those weird Manson family names. He saw her present the gun. He grabbed the gun away from her and saved the president's life, basically. And Oliver Sipple at that time was like a closeted gay guy. And Harvey Milk, who was the first publicly elected
gay official.
Gay official. Harvey Milk really him over big time, and basically like because he was so obsessed with like saying a gay guy saved the president's life, he outed Oliver Sipple, and it like just created chaos in Oliver Sipple's life because he wasn't openly out. His mother kind of like disowned him. He like died sadly in the 80s from like diabetes. He just had a kind of a sad ending to his life because Harvey Milk wanted to make a point out of him, but
in a good way. He meant well, but
he meant well, but
Sipple's just like,
this is the 70s.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, dude, I'm from Alabama, dude. This isn't gonna fly well with my family.
It's the Key and Peele skit where it keeps talking about in the gay community, and it cuts to the guy that's just like, like he's like, what? Yeah. Anytime they say gay, the camera cuts to Key, I think, and he's like, what?
Yeah. And then
he's like moving out of the way, and the camera refines him.
And then the last attempt after that was a crazy person. Like we said, he was a guy that was a little too much obsessed with Catcher in the Rye, like the guy who shot Lennon, Mark David Chapman. And he thought Jodie Foster was his girlfriend. And, she said one negative thing about the president of the United States, and he thought
You
he had
didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, no.
Treat. I will say this: just treat everything. If I have this face, go in depth because I have no idea on any of this, and I'm sure 90% of you are like,
so.
Huh?
John Hinckley, the guy who shot Ronald Reagan when he was in office, was legitimately like that was his thing. Is he wanted to impress the actress Jodie Foster? That wasn't just a random
because she
attack
said
on Jodie Foster.
she just said she's like I don't like Reagan, so he's like I don't like him either now. I love Jodie Foster.
the original simp.
Yeah.
Which he's out of prison now and he's making bluegrass music.
Yeah, he got released like what 3 years ago.
He's got a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I want to get him on the channel because I want to do the recreation of the Reagan shooting because I have the gun.
We're gonna have him on the podcast and that.
I don't have the gun.
I don't have the exact gun, but I have the exact same model, caliber, everything. Yeah. I bought it specifically to do a recreation because the Reagan shooting is an interesting one to me.
Color me impressed that he made it out. Period. Like alive and then out of jail after trying to assassinate.
He got dogpiled immediately. It's a shitty little 22 LR revolver.
You want to know one of the most wholesome stories from the Reagan attempt was people forget he almost died, and there was actually a crisis happening at the White House because George H.W. Bush was like overseas or gone or something like that. There was some sort of like succession crisis happening where the Speaker of the House at the time basically claimed that he was in charge. That's a whole different thing. But Reagan came extremely close to dying. People have no idea. And he's getting operated on these doctors, and I think it was in Georgetown there.
Yeah.
And Reagan looks up to the doctor and he's like, Are you a Republican or a Democrat? And the doctor says, Sir, everybody today is a Republican. Just a wholesome 80s story. If that was said now on like X or anything like that, nobody would believe it. But
be a TikTok dance and then shoot him in the head.
Yeah, because I think that was the original quote, something along the lines. It might have been that, or it might have been the one I heard was, before he goes under.
Oh, I hope you voted for me. You're right.
I hope you're all Republicans.
Yeah. That's what he said. Yeah.
And then the one before that, I think before he got operated on, it was he was talking to his wife, Nancy Reagan. They said like something along the lines of, not paraphrasing, but he's like, Nancy, I should have ducked.
Yeah.
The guy was a one-liner machine, even while currently shot.
And then a couple years later, he's giving a speech in Berlin, and a balloon popped, and he just stops his speech and goes, "You missed me." Yeah.
Reagan was the lovable grandfather of the country.
Yeah. The great communicator.
I didn't really. So
Introduced crack to the inner city, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, just a real hero.
This is why I love Jack's like, here's his positives. Also, here is all the negatives that this dude did.
God, that reminds me of this, Jack. I had to show you. It's Ronald Reagan with black communities. She needed this crack. It's a chiropractor.
And so, okay, wait, go back. So this dude, I just want to know his mindset. He's on crazy meds right now? I'm assuming.
Who?
The guy that tried to assassinate him.
I don't know, because he's been in prison since it happened. So I mean, that's been decades.
They have to have a regiment for him to get out, and then
because I mean, he did kill a man. He killed the Secret Service agent. I believe it was it was one of the Secret Service
James
guys.
Brady was he was press secretary something. He got paralyzed because it hit him in the head. He was paralyzed
because they named I believe it was the 1994 Brady Bill after him. Yeah, it basically set up our current system for NICS background checks and everything for purchasing a firearm.
No shit. So okay, I'm more surprised that he's out. Then did he plead crazy? How do you go into trial with that dude and not give a life sentence?
Hey, Your Honor, my client is just in love with Jodie Foster. You can't really blame him.
I wouldn't start an assassination defense with, you can't really blame the guy.
Jodie Foster doesn't like Reagan. My client loves Jodie Foster. You don't understand this, Your Honor?
It's weird you're not a lawyer.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared. I don't know what to tell you, brother.
Would you call her a hot dog loving whore?
A hot dog strutting floozy, man.
My client pleads. He was just a little silly that day.
He's just a silly goose.
He's just a silly goose, dude.
I'm sorry, the flow of the show was interrupted by Jack's bladder.
Thanks
for that.
Yeah, I got an old man pee-pee bladder.
Thank you for that.
And this is Marty. Marty, say hi. You got to say hi to him.
Hi, I'm here for talk about dead presidents and other things.
That's how we're going to intro
Some
the
of them
show.
survived.
Well,
I mean, none
the
of
dead
them
ones.
actually are
JFK
still
and-
alive.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
JFK and Lincoln were the most interesting parts of the story for me. The thing about Lincoln's son? Are you kidding me?
That's
Yeah,
all I got.
there's even more layers to it.
Wait, what was the most?
Just wait till you find out about Robert Kennedy.
Wait. God damn it. What was the most okay, you said like there's more to it. Name two other situations with Lincoln's son that you're like, wow, he's just a bad luck baby.
When his mother was already prone to psychological
disease.
situations. By the time, so he outlived all three of his younger brothers. He outlived all of them. One of them died while Lincoln was president. So Robert Todd Lincoln survived all of his younger brothers by the time his dad was shot. And so his mother she cracked by the time Lincoln was killed. And by the early 1870s, he had to institutionalize her because she just was pure nuts.
Besides that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play?
Exactly.
But what would you give it on Rotten Tomato?
Audience score was not high.
Yeah.
She's splattered with blood.
Everyone's a critic.
Tough audience.
Can you imagine being the frickin' the state
Tough, but not bulletproof.
again, another Secret Service failure. He was a lawyer, very astute lawyer, very accomplished lawyer. He was taking care of her finances. He had his mother's best interest in his heart, but she escaped the loony bin and then started running editorials, running stuff on newspapers, just basically talking shit about him when all he was trying to do was help his mom out.
This was the original Free Britney.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Wait, holy shit! How? Okay, wait. How? The fuck did
also
she
his
escape?
oldest son, who was named Abraham, died while he was serving as the U.S. ambassador to the U.K.
How did he die?
It was like one of the common diseases back
Don't
then.
eat the fish and chips.
Yeah,
So he just had very bad luck.
he was a bad luck charm. And then at the dedication of the Lincoln Memorial, I think it was 1921. 80-year-old Robert Todd Lincoln was there with former President Howard Taft and current President I think it was Wilson, and miraculously both of them survived.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Woodrow Wilson was a piece. He's arguably the big. Now, take his presidency out, right? If you're looking just at a person, he's arguably the biggest piece of shit we've ever had as president.
Oh, I was including his presidency.
Yeah.
Income tax, the Federal Reserve, like that guy was the League of Nations, the original. Oh yeah, no, he'd like talk about a globalist piece of shit. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah. He was the most racist president we've ever had. He used to do screenings like every week of
Birth of a Nation?
The Birth of a Nation, which, by the way, like even by the standards of the day, the critics were like, "This is kind of racist," and he loved that shit.
It basically is just like a founding of the Klan.
Yeah, it was
like
a glorification of the Klan. So by the standards of the day, most people were like, "This isn't a good movie."
Which, although I will say, I went back and watched that movie just like for history's sake.
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad as I thought. I thought it was going to be way worse, just the way it was hyped up. Like, it's still something that, like, I mean, if the president says that that's his favorite movie, that's a
Fuck
flag.
yeah.
That's bad. If it's bad though for that standard, because back in the day, this is when was this filmed?
Birth of a Nation, I think, was the late
19 teens.
teens. Yeah.
So in the teens, they were highly restricted on. If you look at it today and you're like, "Oh, that was kind of bad," holy shit! Because I remember the radio sequence that played over for the.
War of the
We're
Worlds.
being War of the Wars, like that caused mass
People lost
hysteria.
their shit,
So
yeah.
that movie, when you say in 20, especially the shit we all watch.
I mean, if you watch The Aviator, where he's trying to pitch it to the MPAA back in the day, like trying to argue for why he should be allowed to show cleavage in a movie.
Yeah.
Like that's the MPAA.
Read the first edition of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh yeah, the Oompa Loompas were basically like,
Oh, yeah.
Is this a metaphor for how much Roald Dahl hates Africans? Is this?
Their skin wasn't orange in the first edition. Was it?
And he didn't skip around the term du jour for not qualified to use that one.
Damn. Dude,
Yeah,
old books
the
are like,
original-
what a great movie. We're going to have to change that. Again, child's movie. We love it. That one's gonna
Huckleberry
have-
Finn.
Yeah, you could have just called him Jim.
Oh, we talked about that the other day. It's like, why did they just call him Jim?
Do you know the story about
Qualifiers are unnecessary.
they filmed Principal in Germany for that movie? And so all the Oompa Loompas they had to hire from like Britain and France and the United States and stuff. Do you know why they couldn't hire any Germans to play Oompa Loompas?
There weren't any.
Because of Hitler had eradicated the little people population of Germany. They couldn't get any local talent because Hitler had basically eradicated little people 40 years before
It's like
that.
there's like a 80-year-old midget sitting in an attic somewhere like, well, fool me once. I ain't coming down for this shit. Oh, yeah, sure, you want to put me in a chocolate factory. F you. I heard that one before.
I'm not getting in that chocolate train.
You're going to sell me down that chocolate river. F you.
Holy shit.
It's just like you hear about some of these guys that didn't know that, was it Vietnam or China? No, Japan. Didn't know that Japan surrendered.
The last one was in like
30 years later.
1968. Yeah.
We've talked about it.
Wild.
Dude, we talked about it a couple of times. It's a weird story. Like they were sending his family, and like you turned, like she's now on the Imperial side, or not the Imperial, but American side, and everything.
I mean, at that point, it would just be modern Japanese. Like the war was well over. The hatchet was buried.
Yeah, they were already into freaking Hello Kitty and baseball at that point.
And anime. Lots of anime at that time.
God, they used to be a proper country. No, do you want to introduce our guest, by the way? I feel like we just kind of like shoved him in the middle of the podcast.
It's our boy Marty Skovlund. And we've known each other. Damn.
A minute now. Yeah. Going back at least to like, I don't know if it's late Art 15 days or early Black Rifle days.
Yeah.
Like somewhere in there.
20. Yeah, dude, it has been.
Both of you have something big in common. You've both been History Channel hosts.
We did.
Got something in common with Eli, and I got something in common with Jack.
Yeah.
Got shot in basic training.
And Trump.
I want to lead with that one because they.
Oh, yeah, right.
These guys have never heard this story, and I've never heard it
Because
personally.
we've heard the story of how you got shot.
Yes, but you got to tell the story about afterwards when you were home on leave.
Okay, so do you guys want like the full like front to back story?
Go for it.
All right, so it is the summer of 2005, and
All right, speed it up a little.
hey, all right, just hold the fuck on.
Oh, come on.
I could have started at 1905, which is the precursor to OIF1.
All right,
but-
Tolkien, spend a fucking hour describing a lake.
So it's the summer of 2005. I'm in week 5 of infantry OSIT basic training on Fort Benning. We're on main post on the known distance range, otherwise known as the KD range.
Charlie
right?
219, what was your.
I was Charlie 254. No, I was Alpha 254 until I got shot, and then I had to go to Charlie 254. But so I graduated Charlie 254. So we're out at the range. It's one of those really hot. It's the week of 4th of July, so it's hot as balls on Fort Benning. It's one of those ones where they're having everybody like take their kit off and stuff like that. We're doing the known distance one. It's that thing where they use the pop-up target and everybody's behind the berm and they'll mark the target for you and then put it back up. You'd think that, oh, Marty, you got shot because you were behind the berm and they were shooting.
Well, reference on that for people who don't know. In basic training, how far do you have to do? It's like 300 yards?
I know on that particular one, we were on the 200 meter line.
So
I know for that, we were 200 meters.
You, as a soldier in basic training for infantry, you have this giant berm, and then it's like you have almost like half a steel roll.
It's like the
and
size of
dirt.
this table. You know, it's a big white thing, and they'll mark it with these plastic markers of where your shots hit.
And you raise it up.
Yep.
You close stuff off, and then
Pulling
Old school
butts.
shit.
Pulling butts.
and then you put it back up, and then you just wait.
Yep.
Boring ass day. Nothing's done other than put holes in the target, cover it up, kick it back up.
So I was not behind that berm marking targets, which would be the thing that I think most people would jump to. I was up on the 200 meter line, and we're just sitting there waiting for the targets to be marked. And
Holy shit! Yeah, I forgot you're out in the open.
yeah, complete wide open. Also on the Katy range on main post Fort Benning, almost every range complex on any military base in the world, they have berms in between the ranges. This one had just a tree line, no berms.
Yep.
So somebody in the range next door, while I'm sitting there on the 200 meter line waiting for my target to be marked, we're all online. Somebody, and I found this out later, somebody over there, they're doing the 3 to 5 second rushes live fire. So apparently what this kid did was he did his 3 to 5 second rush, brought his rifle up, squeezed off his rounds, and then instead of doing what you're supposed to do, which is put the selector switch back on safe, go back to the lower ready, and then tucka your next 3 to 5 seconds, he did flip the selector switch to 3 round burst.
Nice.
Decided not to remove his finger from the trigger well, kept it on the trigger, and instead of going to the low ready, he daddy shotgunned it and tucka, I guess tripped on a root somewhere and squeezed off 3 rounds. Flash back to Marty at the 200 meter line, sitting there waiting for his target to be marked. I feel something just like slap my shoulder. Like in a way, like have you ever felt a slap but also feels like you were penetrated at the same time?
Yeah, Scoutmaster Kevin. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Flashbacks.
yeah. So it was something like that to where at first it was BDUs at the time. I like pulled it up and I saw a perfect little hole right there, just seeing what it was. And at first I'm like, oh, Spider B, something like that. But my initial thought was I got shot. But that immediately was like, no, Spider B, something like that. And I sat there and tried to talk myself out of you were shot because that's ridiculous. Nobody gets
Why is
shot
my
in
back
basic
wet?
training, right?
Oh no.
And then I pulled it up again to check because I could start to feel my shoulder start to throb a little bit. And now there's like a perfect little ring of blood. At this point, I like looked to the drill sergeant. His name is Drill Sergeant McGinnis. I hope he sees this. He was a 375 Ranger. I wanted to be a Ranger. I joined the Army with a Ranger contract. I wanted to be a Ranger so bad. So I looked up to this guy who's also the biggest dick in the world. The one person that you didn't want to tell, I got shot, Drill Sergeant. I say that, I'm like, Drill Sergeant, I think I got shot. And he like doesn't even fully turn around. He just like turns his head. He's like, drink water, private. Like he was like over the day. It was hot. You know, he's a miserable drill sergeant. Like, and I like then.
It is for the viewers out there, for everyone that has not done basic. Like Brandon can tell you this. How much fear you have of drill sergeants.
Legitimate fear.
You don't want to with these dudes. These are like...
All these guys were fresh back from OIF 1. This is 05. They're all fresh back from OIF 1. These are like the first combat veterans the Army's had in
What year did you go?
2005.
What month?
Like the summertime.
Oh shit!
Like, right after high school.
No shit! I got out before you went in. Like I would. Yeah, my basic ended before you got. Okay, random. Okay,
Wow,
go.
I didn't think you were that much older than me. Jeez.
I didn't even know that. I was like, wait, 05? What?
Yeah. So felt that. So I tell him, and he tells me to like basically shut the up and drink water. And then I'm like, okay, before I argue with the drill sergeant, let me like verify here. And I like pull up my top up again. And I look, and I'm like, okay, my shoulder definitely hurts, and now there's like a bigger spot of blood at this point. Like it's a big, like it's bleeding. And I'm like, whether I got shot or not, there's a problem.
That
like,
sounds like it was a
problem.
piece of glass. Honestly, if you were shot with an AR-15, you would be identified through DNA alone. It sounds like it was staged, really, I think.
It's funny, I was actually accused of that later. Are
you shitting me?
I'm not joking at all.
Jesus Christ.
So I tell him again, I'm like, Drill Sergeant, I really think I got shot. Like this, I'm like, and he just looks over his shoulder again. He's like, private, and starts like muttering under his breath, fucking privates, like stomps over, gets to where he can see like the blood. He's like, holy shit, private, you did get shot. It was like he was happy. It was like I brought joy to his day.
Like, damn, son, all right.
The first thing, and anybody that's ever been in the military will appreciate, the first thing out of his mouth after like, holy shit, you did get shot, was he told me to literally take a knee and drink water. Like, literally was like, take a knee and drink water, and then got on the phone, and I like did what I told her. I like took a knee and like started sipping on my Camelback. They weren't even real Camelbacks. They were the hoses that connected to the canteens at the time. There wasn't actual Camelbacks. And
I like you like,
yeah, I was just like, Roger Drill Sergeant.
this is saving my life.
Yeah.
Should I lay
And
down?
he gets on the radio. They got these little walkie-talkies. He's like, hey, I just got, like, Private Skovlund just got shot. And he's, like, laughing to himself. This is hysterical. All these other guys, fresh back out of OIF-1, they start doing 3 to 5 second bounds over there. They all think that they're, like, going through, like, we're in the shit again. There's an active shooter. There's, like, you know, something going on here. And so they all come over. They tell all the whole rest of the base training company to, like, get their faces in the dirt and stuff. Everybody else's face is in the dirt looking at me, and I'm still on a knee, like up above everybody else, like sipping on my water. They get over and they start looking at it. They have me take my top off. So like, yeah, you got shot. And they start calling for like medics and all this other stuff. Before the first medic gets there, we had this one guy with us. He was a sergeant. He was a staff sergeant, but he didn't have his like drill sergeant hat yet. I guess he was waiting to go to drill sergeant school, so he wasn't like a fully rated drill sergeant yet, but he was there just as like an NCO, and he could see the bulge. It was a very shallow, it was like as if, you know, somebody almost online with me shot. It was a very shallow, went in, he could see the bulge in my skin from the bullet. He's like, oh, I can see, we could probably get that. He literally took his Gerber tool out and used it.
It's military's again.
Yeah, I'm not even making this up. Like, this is documented in my medical records. Like, I'm not even making this up. He used it to knead the bullet out towards the hole and then grabbed it out and, like, literally handed it to me. He was like, here, you can give that to your grandkids someday.
Do you still have it?
Yes.
That's rad,
yeah.
dude. Jesus Christ.
It's still in the same, like, little medical container that the surgeon later, who's very upset with this, not drill sergeant. And literally, I'm not making this up. Before he pulled out his Gerber tool, he was like, don't worry, I'm CLS qualified. Which stands for Combat Lifesaver. Again, for the not, like, you can't make this stuff up. Like, he literally said, don't worry.
Not an actual medic. He went to like 6 hours of classes.
Like, knows how
Basically,
to put
I was a
tourniquet
Boy
on.
Scout first class, and I've got my first aid merit badge.
And so they do that. They get that. At that point, the first people come up as like the range control medics, which are like these two E4s that have not deployed. They've done nothing but go to like their 68 whiskey training. This is terrifying to them because the only thing they have treated in their entire military careers, it's like
Dehydration. Yeah.
They're like, we know how to bring your core temp down, but this is way outside of her.
We know how to silver bullet you, and that's about it.
They just took like a janky ass pressure dressing and slapped it on my shoulder. It did nothing. It was the most janky ass. Like they didn't know how to put it over a shoulder so that if you moved your arm, it would stay in place. And then at that point, all the ambulances, like these government vehicles, all started rolling up. They put me in the ambulance and brought me to the hospital, and they brought like the surgeon out, and he's like, "Where's the bullet?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's right here, sir." Like,
what was his
like,
reaction for that?
He was like, "How did you get that?" Because he could clearly see. By the way, the bullet wound looked like the opposite gender's anatomy.
I was just a vagina. You can say.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
Yeah.
It looked like it was very obvious that something had went where it wasn't supposed to go, and so he was like, "Okay, how did you get that?" Like he was like angry, like, "How the did you get that?" And I was like, "Oh, don't worry, my drill sergeant CLS qualified," because I didn't know what that, but like I just heard him say that, so I repeated it. And you can imagine like a military surgeon. This is like a full bird colonel, like military surgeon is just like, "So you're meaning to tell me that you're drill sergeant?" I was like, "No, he's not a drill sergeant." He's like,
He's about to be a drill sergeant.
So he's like, he's having a
I literally got into
right now.
semantics with him over this. I was like, "No, he's not a drill sergeant yet. Like, he's gonna be though." And the surgeon was like, "Okay, so you're not a drill sergeant, performed field surgery on you when we've got Martin Army right here. Like, he performed field surgery on you." And I'm like, "Well, I mean, when you put it that way, it sounds kind of bad, but like, I didn't think it was surgery. I didn't get put under, you know." And then he's like, "Okay," and they started looking at it, and they're like, "You should probably call your parents." And they're like, "Don't lead with you got shot." And I like definitely led with I got shot. Freaked my mom out.
Mom.
Yeah.
Private.
So
mindset.
this is the part that Jack wanted me to get into. So first of all, this is week 5. This is 2 days before we're going to qualify on our rifles. That's a big gate in basic training. Like if you don't qualify and something happens, like you get hurt like this, you will be a day 1 recycle. Whereas if you're qualified, you'll be reinserted with a different company at like week 6 or whatever, like post qualification.
It's week 5. When is?
Yeah, it's early like that. Yeah, like week 5, week 6.
Damn, I was retarded. I thought it was week 3.
So it's like a save
day.
checkpoint.
Yeah,
Essentially.
you start shooting in week 3.
It's a different
It's a
block,
save-
but you
yeah,
know,
it's a quick save.
yeah.
Yeah, you didn't do the live fire portion.
I'm doing it for the virgins.
The 2-way range. I had to, but the so we decide that I need to go home on con leave, which is like 30 days to let it heal up. I go and qualify. It took me 4 or 5 tries, but I did qualify with my off arm, with my dominant. I'm right eye dominant, right hand shooter. So I had to shoot left-handed right eye, and it took me 4 or 5 times, but I did qualify just so I didn't have to be a day 1 recycle. Went home. It was probably one of the greatest 30 days of my life because I didn't think that I was going to get a chance to like have that summer after my senior year or anything like that. But now I'm coming home like basically a war hero. For small town South Dakota, this is basically a war hero.
Look, dude.
Yeah, basically.
Like what we do with Brandon, but Brandon gets 2.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna quit this podcast at some point.
So I go home, and there's like one night we, just get real drunk, and somebody asks, I say something about getting, like somebody's asking about what basic training's like. I'm like, "Oh, you just get smoked a lot," and they're like, "What's getting smoked like?" And I was like, "Let me show you. I've got a bandage on my shoulder. It's still like pussing and bleeding every day. The bandage, I have to go to the ER every 2 days to get the bandage switched out."
Jesus.
I'm like, "Let me show you what it's like to get smoked." Apparently, I don't particularly remember this, but like I kind of remember that it happened, but like I don't remember how long. Apparently, for about a half an hour, I did mountain climbers, push-ups, flutter kicks, like smoked myself.
You were showing how cool you were.
Oh, 100%. It was that
Boot
basic
stuff.
training.
Boot stuff,
100%.
dude. I came home and I stood at Parade Rest ordering McDonald's, bro.
So
Oh, I hate how accurate these
It's so
statements are.
bad.
Dude, you are the gayest human when you get back from maybe
it's
like,
the worst.
I'm an army in 1.
Yeah. Now you just throw in that you got shot. Like, dude, your ego is out of control at that point. And anyways, I had to go back
By the enemy? Well, I mean, like, I don't like them.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, have you ever seen Full Metal Jacket? It might as well be the enemy. Like, so I had to go into the ER the next day, and they had to swap it out. I woke up hungover with my entire shirt drenched in blood.
Oh.
It was bad. They had to like take me into the ER and the doctor was like, wait a second, you got a gunshot wound and you were doing what? Anyways, that was my base training experience. I came back, reinserted with Charlie 254, did fine, went to airborne school, got food poisoning on the second day of airborne school, had to recycle that. Then I went to Ranger indoctrination program and fell off the fast rope tower 2 days before graduation.
So everything you had to recycle through,
So
rip even.
That's what you had in common with Jack. Now we know what you got in common with Cody.
And then my first week in
Falling off
battalion,
the
I
fast
cut
rope
one of my
tower.
friend's trigger finger off in a striker.
You did
His
what?
finger off on accident.
Hold the fuck. Okay, wait. Okay, so
Yeah.
rewind. Okay, so RIP. This is RIP. I don't know what it's called now.
RAS, Ranger Assessment and Selection
Yeah.
Program.
So RIP is 5 weeks long,
at the time it was 4.
4 weeks
It's
long,
like
and it
8
just
plus
sucks.
weeks now. Yeah, it was just get your nuts kicked in for 4 weeks. Yeah.
And you fell. So you had to recycle that.
No, I didn't recycle. So
But
it was
you
a
just
similar
went
deal as
through it?
basic training. Similar deal as basic training. They're like, hey, I literally fell 35 feet because it was on the Chinook side of the fast rope tower, so you have to reach out further to get to the rope. And basically, the guy that went down in front of me, the rope caught between his canteen and himself, and he took the rope with him. So when I was rotating out, I had nothing for my feet to get onto. Your feet burn on the rope for your hands burn on the rope for about 5 feet, and then you just naturally let go. So I fell about 35 feet, bounced off the P-Rock, cracked a couple of ribs, and then had a spiral fracture up like my tibia or something in my leg there. And similar deal, that was my 4th rope. I had to do one more to graduate in 2 days, get my tan brain, go to battalion, or go to medical, heal up for a couple of months, and then come back and do it all again. I already kind of felt like I got lucky up to this point. Like I felt kind of like if somebody takes too close a look at me, they're just going to say, you don't pass. Like I was not exactly like future Delta Force Commando Marty. Okay, like nice guy. Probably not like the guy that you're picking on your A team for taking down a building, okay? So just want to be transparent there. So I felt like I'm already sneaking through as it is. Maybe I should just get back up that tower and do that one last rope, get my tan bray and go try to prove myself. And so I did.
Jesus.
And that's actually how I ended up at 1st Ranger Battalion because the cadre saw that and were like, oh, I respect that. And I got to go to the battalion everybody wants to go to.
Cody's over here like, I want to play Skyrim.
I mean, fair.
I fell off a rope at Bud's and hurt my back and just decided to go home and play Elder Scrolls Skyrim because it was 11/11/11 when that game came out. And I was like, yeah, this sucks.
Had you been shot in basic training and had a sufficient amount of shame
I
built
didn't
up,
get shot, no.
Dude, you went up, you spiral, broke a couple ribs, and were like on your femur.
I had a spiral fracture up my tibia, the lower part of the leg, and then 3 like hairline cracks in the ribs. So it was hard to breathe.
Yeah.
Not super comfortable to walk. And just went up and got it done. Yeah, they all let me go up. It was a gimme. They're like, you just got to go up and slide down the rope. That's it. We're not going to, you don't have to do it with equipment on. Just, you got to do 5 ropes to graduate. And so, because the 5th
That's
rope,
pretty cool, though.
yeah, the 5th rope is supposed to be like full combat equipment. You're all going out at once. They let me just go up and like, go get your 5th rope. If you're willing to do it, like, go up there, just knock it out. So, yeah.
And then they put you at Benning for your state duty station?
No, I went to Savannah, Georgia.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got
I got
hooked up.
good.
I got hooked up.
Because so Ranger Bat, you can go to, was that first?
Yeah, 1st is in Savannah, Georgia, which is an awesome place to go to. 3rd Battalion is at Fort Benning. and
The worst duty station.
was not great, especially if you come in as infantry. You've spent all of your time there. Like, you want to get the out of there so bad. And then 2nd Bat's out in
Fort
like
Lewis.
Portland, I think.
Fort Lewis,
I
Washington.
think it's Portland.
Yeah, Portland. Okay, we're going with Portland. We'll just go Portland.
They call them the Antifa Battalion.
Holy shit. You went through so much just to...
Yeah, I thought I was screwed, like going on my first, so I get to battalion, my first deployment to Iraq is 6 weeks later, and I'm like, there's no way I'm making it through this thing, like no way. I went through 5 to 3 deployments to Iraq, 2 to Afghanistan, totally fine.
Not a scratch.
Generally speaking, yeah. Nothing major, major.
Nothing external.
No, yeah.
Just the PTSD that lives with him forever.
Yeah, I smashed my finger once.
Oh, wait, go rewind. You cut off somebody's finger.
You cut off some dude's trigger finger?
Yeah, so my first week in battalion, because we're getting where you're doing those final validations before you go on deployment, right? It's like you do this week and then you go on leave and then you come back, palletize, and go to war, right? And so this week was all about we knew going in we were going to be doing a lot of mobility stuff, a lot of things based off vehicles. So it was like, let's go out and run some striker things. As one of the new guys, you're like, okay, you're going to be on the gun a lot or you're going to be driving a lot. So I had to do that. I was in the driver's seat. This is the first time I've ever driven it. We're doing recovery drills, trying to use the winch to pull another striker out of a ditch at Fort Stewart. And basically the way this works is there's somebody outside on the winch that gives directions to the vehicle commander up top that can visually see that person, and then the vehicle commander radios into the driver who can't see shit when to winch in, winch out. So I, as the driver, am controlling the winch. I hear we're doing this, and I hear winch in, I winch in, and then I hear screaming, and then I hear, oh my God, stop winching, winch out, winch out, winch out. I'm like, I winched out. I come out, and a guy that I showed up to, that we both came to battalion about the same time, we're friends, he was missing a finger. Not the whole thing,
far?
just...
The important part. Got it.
The part that you need to be an Army Ranger.
Yeah.
I was literally just like sitting there miming it. I'm like, I could pull a trigger with like that. Like,
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah. So,
Jesus.
Wait,
So
okay,
it was
so
about
what-
halfway up the finger.
yeah, something like that.
So what happened other than
Yeah, it was a little bit of everybody's fault, right? So,
about right with the
the
striker?
guy that lost his finger, I think his hand was probably a little bit too close to the winch for winching in. And I'm not clear whether he said winch in when he should have said winch out or vice versa. Or if the VC, the vehicle commander, there was a miscommunication somewhere along the way. And there was also a finger probably too close to the winch.
What we have here is failure to communicate.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was kind of my first year in the military. Pretty normal.
You got shot and you cut a guy's finger off.
And you fell off a tower, broke ribs and spinal, and then told to go up, do it again. Wait, what happened in airborne school?
Oh, food poisoning. Yeah, I threw up. You know that place like with all the P-Rock where they just have you do PLFs all the time? I threw up all over that. I don't know how they cleaned that out. Like, it was so bad. It was so bad. It was like that scene from Sandlot. Like,
Holy shit.
So, yeah.
God damn. That was, I would have quit so many times in that section. Like, this sucks, Dave. This is God telling me. Not my thing.
It was just
not
like
my cup of tea.
just like you when you were doing the skydiving shit.
Yeah.
Where like you slept through your alarm and everything. And you're like, this is too many signs. I'm good.
And I still was like, let's go.
Because what all happened there? I forgot.
It was, so we had free fall. It was, okay, hey, you have, your first jump is tomorrow morning. So you're going to do your one person attached. God damn it. Not
Tandem.
Tandem. You're going to do one tandem and your free fall. So one tandem, free fall. I was like, okay. I suck at the tunnel. I blow dick at the tunnel. I barely can float now. So I was like, I'll go to bed, I'll plug in my phone, I'll make sure everything ready, set alarm, and then I'll wake up and just crush the day. I plug in, phone is charging, put it down. I wake up in the middle of the night. I'm like, I was like, oh, it's probably super early. I'll go back to sleep. I check my phone, almost dead. Like it is, and I'm like, unplug, plug. I was like, it was charging last night. What the? No, the phone was dead. Thank you, Brandon. Phone was dead.
Yeah.
Because I went to click it and I was like, why is it off? Like turning the phone on and off. I was like, what the? It was plugged in. I was making sure it was charged last night. I was like, it's in, plugged into the wall. I unplug it, plug it back in. The cord died in the middle of the night. So I was like, oh no. Should I jump today? I feel like I should not jump. I'm going to jump anyways, but if I die, this is my sign I completely ignore. Yeah.
That was the exact same thing that happened to me when I was doing the jump school down at Placa, 2 months ago. It was my last jump. I don't know why I got in my own head because like after my first, I didn't give a like I'd already like done tandem like a year before. Like I really didn't care. I was just like, okay, I got to do this, get the cert. Like to me, it was just business. My last jump, I am in a Cessna, sitting there like static line attached, talking to myself about like, now would be a good time to make peace with God. And I got in my head about that for no reason. I'm literally having an argument in my own head. I'm like, no, why the f are we even thinking about this right now? Like we're good. But if it was going to happen.
Why are we here? Dude, and you start double, like.
Yeah.
And it was that thought. It's like, well, you're going to regret it if you don't. Like that sort of shit. I'm like, oh God, like why am I getting in my own? I haven't cared up until now, but now it's my last jump. It's like, oh, well, here it goes. Dude, and then that jump was that was one of the ones where my shoe got tangled.
And then you start doing the opening kick.
Like, oh,
opening kick. And then you find out it's a normal thing.
Yeah.
They tangle a lot, and you're like,
it happened, I think, 2 out of my 5 jumps.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And it's not as terrifying as in your head. So when you're landing, they can't teach you how to land other than PLF. Yep. But past that is they can't teach you how to like flare or when to flare. They can tell you visually. You see, you don't want to flare too early, otherwise the chute will stall and you will just die, or you'll hit the ground.
Or there's static line where you just don't get to flare.
Yeah,
you hit the earth as a lawn dart at 18 feet per second. Like it
Which
happens.
is terrifying when they say it like that. You're like, you're hitting the ground about, I don't know, like 20 miles an hour. You're like, No, what? I have to just land like that? Like, yeah, you'll be fine.
Think about it as like a fender bender. It's like, oh, okay.
5 times in a row, but you'll feel real cool afterwards. And then you didn't even get to use it.
Yeah, I didn't even get to go to Normandy.
It was amazing, Brandon. You missed out on so much awesome stuff. I ate oysters on a houseboat for 3 days straight.
I was so jealous. Did I ever tell you what happened with that?
I found out like 2 days that you couldn't make it. No.
I
assume it had to do with the campaign.
No. I paid like $1,500 to have my passport expedited like as fast as possible.
That's right.
I got my passport in the day you guys got back.
Holy shit.
I was so pissed. I would rather they just lose it in the mail or something. But like the day you guys were getting back, I got my passport and I'm like, I went to jump school. I did everything. But that looked like genuinely looked like a amazing time.
It was great. I did not and Marty's done that trip more times than I have.
74th and 75th.
Yeah.
80th. Yeah.
The 80th is like a real once in a lifetime opportunity.
Those French people are the most patriotic people I've ever seen.
Who was just on talking about that?
Yeah, it was Jack Carr.
Jack Carr said that was one of the most. It's where he was like, man, we're up our young generation because the level of enthusiasm and respect for that World War II community and those soldiers, like them putting on the parades.
Bro,
next level.
I escorted 2 veterans with my dear friend Tracy Hunter, who runs Beyond the Call. Can I give Tracy a shout out?
Of course.
Runs a great organization called Beyond the Call. She basically just takes World War II veterans out and takes them back to battlefields. She does a lot, but I was driving around 2 World War II veterans all day, Al Shapling and Don Graves. I've been around what would be considered A-listers. I've been around celebrities before. I have never seen anything in my life like what I saw escorting those World War II veterans around. It was like moving the Beatles around, dude. People were mobbing our cars. People were handing babies to them. People like we had to Kevin had to get out of the vehicle and like literally like, get away, we're moving. So I could drive through this mob. They were like trying to get to these guys like they were the Beatles. It was bonkers. I've never seen anything like it.
That's insanity.
Oh, American, please.
Why do you sound Japanese?
I was just trying to.
He's got one accent.
I know, he's always Asian.
I was just trying to do.
I know.
I was trying to do French racism, not Japanese racism.
Be a French person.
I'm so French. Let's go to the Eiffel Tower.
That's crazy. So
It was nuts.
It was just
I've
an
never seen anything
experience.
like it.
Was it the same for when you were there?
So I wasn't escorting World War II vets, so I didn't have that exact level, but I was definitely probably one of the people mobbing them, probably. I mean, it was cool. And what was really cool for me when I saw 74th and 75th was you would see, even all these years later, these World War II vets link up with people that they hadn't seen since the war. And there was one particular group, these two people, a French resistance fighter, a female French resistance fighter, and an American GI that basically had like a romance there, and then just parted
That's a
ways
very
after the war.
common story.
And then they met each other again, and it was not by accident. Somebody over there figured it out and figured he was still alive and all this other stuff and organized this. But they met for the first time in,
Which was really awkward for their both of their spouses.
Yeah.
and you say that as a joke. I want to say that they'd both married, but both had lost their spouses already, because they were very advanced age.
Romantic.
And so
Yeah, right?
man, like it was like one of those things where like you just, what other circumstance in life or do you see something like that happen? One of the other really cool things too is the Ranger Regiment goes out and reenacts the climbing of Point du Hoc.
That's really cool.
They brought
Fuck
2 or 3
that.
Rangers out that climbed Point du Hoc and sat them at the top of the cliffs. So these guys are climbing up in period World War II uniforms.
And greeted with the guys who were there at the top.
I mean, it like gives me, I get
That's-
chills right now just
Dude, and
talking
when
about
you
it.
see those beaches, when you see Point du Hoc, when you go into Saint Marie Glee, and when you're there, every movie, Band of Brothers, say everything you've ever watched or read on it, all instantly gets put into perspective. Like you literally can see everything that happened like instantly.
Dude, that's
It's incredibly moving. That's one thing I'll say. If you ever get the chance, whether it's for a big anniversary like the 80th or otherwise, like go over there one of the years for the anniversary. Like it's worth your time.
Dude,
like,
the gang
I would
does.
love it. The gang does.
Yeah.
81st.
No, I would.
If they drop people, I'll jump.
The gang does
Get a
8 for.
fuck-
I'm dead. Cody.
Yeah.
What is the
Hey, Northern France.
to jump.
Northern France is awesome. The people are great up there. It's just a great vibe.
Yeah.
These towns are so beautiful, and it's just all a bunch of small little towns. All the people are great.
So here's something that I was told, and I was like almost certain it was bullshit when I was told it, but I was just going to go along with it anyway. I was told that the process of landing in Paris, renting a car, and going to Normandy, as somebody who is an American, has only driven on American roads and only speaks English, is easy.
It's not bad at all.
I've done it
Okay,
multiple
yeah.
times. Yeah.
You're
It
gonna-
was something that I didn't want to be unprepared, so naturally I'm like skeptical.
The
of
only
that.
No,
thing that
driving through
sucks-
Paris sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
but once you're out of Paris, it's gravy.
And driving through Paris is no different than I would say like driving through Boston. It's any other
Yeah.
old city you've ever driven in where it's like the roads were not built for cars, right? It's any city like that. The only thing that sucks if you fly into Paris and then drive up to Normandy, the only part that sucks about that is trying to navigate Charles de Gaulle Airport. That is the worst airport on the
It
planet.
is so weird
It is
to get
so
out.
bad.
You're gonna have to make a couple practice turns around the airport before you get out. Yeah.
It is
Have a
bad.
map ahead of time.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Yeah. Never mind driving, just getting out of the airport to your rental car. Like, it's insane. So,
Okay, so the
pro
gang
tips
does.
here.
We like it. We're doing it. Cody's jumping out.
One of you guys are coming with us.
You know,
Cody,
I would love to.
or you
I'll
have to
go
do
back.
the beaching and we get to shoot at you.
I really would love to do that.
It's worth it. 100% worth it.
One of my favorite things about interview, I've had the pleasure and honor of interviewing these World War II veterans the last few years.
Do you know? Side note.
Don
yeah,
Graves will
for-
be here on Sunday.
Yes. Already.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Can we?
I can hit up Tracy if why you want to do a podcast with Don Graves.
Dude.
Okay.
Oh,
Would love to.
done.
I'll hit up Tracy after the
I
show.
would love you.
Yeah, just don't let me leave here without hitting Tracy up. Don Graves is I interviewed him. Sean Ryan interviewed him. That dude's a freaking personality, dude. Anyways, you know what I love about these guys the most is I hate how they're treated as ornaments and
Yeah.
paraded around like this noble, super great generation that was perfect. I'm like, these guys were animals. Every single one of these guys I talked, they've all outlived their wives by like 10 years. Not every single one, but most of these guys I've talked to, when I've been interviewing them, by the way, they bring it up, not me. They just start talking. All they end up talking about is all the they got in Europe. They always go back to. They remember these girlfriends they had 80 years later. Like my wife's dead. I'm thinking about this French broad I used to bang, man.
Holy shit. Okay, so we're all gonna do that. That will be an unsub thing of all day. Okay, before we close out, you just wrote a book, good sir.
Yeah, Joe Kent and I.
Yep.
Dave, Photoshop it right here for 3 seconds. I'm looking at Dave right now.
One.
Yeah, Dave is
Two,
literally in the building.
Dave showed up. We were talking about you earlier, so you're gonna have a whole segment about that, bro.
Talk about your weird foot thing.
Yeah, that foot thing's crazy. You just wrote a book, though.
Yeah. So Joe Kent and I just recently published a book about his late wife, Senior Chief Petty Officer Shannon Kent. She was an incredible person, came into the Navy in 2003 as a cryptological technician, ended up speaking 5 different languages, multiple dialects, went directly into special operations. She was the first woman to go through the Navy's direct support course for Navy SEALs, and then went on to higher levels of special operations later in her career, where she ultimately met her husband, Joe Kent, who's a Green Army Ranger, Green Beret. They both served in a classified special operations unit together, where Shannon was ultimately killed while hunting down the leaders of ISIS in 2019. Incredible person, ran marathons, spoke all these different languages, was the mother of 2 young boys.
The way that
cancer survivor.
I loved your book, and she not only spoke Arabic very well, she could do the dialects, and she could go to Syria and speak it in their dialect, and then go to Egypt and speak it in their dialect.
Her first deployment, she would be in these conversations with the Iraqi what is now called the Iraqi Counterterrorism Service, who draws their soldiers from all over Iraq. All the you might have a Kurdish guy, and I mean like all the different tribes out there. And in the same conversation, she would fluently switch from dialect to dialect, just as we are all talking amongst ourselves here. I mean, just really incredible person.
Well, I can speak Louisiana whenever I want, Marty Skovlund Jr.
Mr. Accents are on point today.
No, it was
who's
crazy
the
too. Like
Pecklewood?
who's the Pecklewood downtown who blows
Who's
the glass?
Pecklewood down there? You want to treat it like that? No, I never said that. You want to treat it like a white folk? No.
So I don't know if he wants his name said, but a friend of mine actually deployed to the Middle East with Sebastian Gorka.
Yeah,
and Gorka was his. Like I don't know if he was a Turk, but he basically he said that the guy was so well read on like all the different histories all throughout that region that like he knows like, well, if you want to talk to this tribe, you need to tell them about X, Y, and Z that you're doing with these people, because 450 years ago there was a 3-month war fought over a goat, over blah blah blah. Like he just knew all the details of the region, like to an intricate detail.
Yeah,
and stuff like that you can't put a price on.
No, I mean Shannon in her off time when she wasn't deployed would be watching like Arabic television, Arabic movies, listening. Her workout playlists were in Arabic, and then that wasn't even the only language she spoke. Like she spoke other languages on top of that. She did some stuff in Africa that we briefly touch on in the book. But
with her cancer, she was supposed to get out, and then
she was trying to, her and Joe started having kids, raising a family. Like we can't both keep deploying. Joe was transitioned. He was about to retire from the military and go into the CIA as a paramilitary operations officer. And so it was like, we can't both keep doing this, plus raise a family and everything. So Shannon she'd already gotten her bachelor's and her master's degree on active duty while serving in a special missions unit, while deploying, got all those things done. And she's like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and get my doctorate. The Navy's got a PhD program where you can be an active duty Navy psychologist, still working SOF as a psychologist, help out with this, at the time was this emerging veteran mental health epidemic, and go do that. So she went and she smoked the board. She was accepted into the PhD program.
Jeez.
The other side of that.
Some people are just built different. Dude.
Yeah, she was. I mean, that's why she's got a whole book written about her, right? Like she was not the average person at all. The other piece of that though is you had to be accepted into a PhD program, and you had to be accepted as a officer in the United States Navy and under naval accessions for officers, not retained, but for assessing, like as if you were straight off the street. Because she had cancer for like a day, she had it cut out and was right back to work. But because there's cancer in her medical jacket, they came back after she was accepted in the PhD program and said, no, actually you can't do this because we're not going to let you be a naval officer.
Holy shit, yeah. This is incredible.
Yeah.
What she did next just to
real quick before we get too far, what's the book called?
Send Me, The True Story of a Mother at War.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and I wish I had it right here to hold it, but I'm trusting Dave to do his magic. Maybe even throw a link in the description. Yeah.
Is it on Amazon?
It's on everywhere books are sold.
Beautiful.
This is major. It's on audiobook. You can listen to my beautiful voice for about 8.5 hours on the audiobook if you want.
How'd she get instilled for the PhD or to get the doctorate? Didn't she do something with
So she never ended up getting the PhD, but she, like in the military, you just figure there's a waiver for everything, right? She tried to go to. She went as high as she could in the Navy to the point where she got to some admiral that's like, look, if you want to change the medical regulation for a session in the United States Navy, you're going to need to go to Congress. She's like, I guess I'll go to Congress then. And literally, like, we put this in the book. She's like, I'm going to just put on my best pantsuit. And her and Joe went to Capitol Hill and started knocking on doors.
Which is where Joe is going to spend the next at least 2 years.
He is hot on it. Everybody should definitely go check out Joe's campaign.
Joe's fantastic. We knew a lot of the same people while we were running, and Joe is a guy that like I'm privileged to endorse. Like he was an awesome dude. I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing him do some good stuff.
Yeah, he's there's very few people I think care more about this country than Joe does. I've been privileged to get to know him a lot over the past 5 years working on this book and telling his hero wife's story. But she was ultimately not during her lifetime would she see that regulation changed, but immediately after her death, the Navy said, you know what, she wouldn't have even been in Syria if we just let her be a naval officer. And so they changed that. There are now officers in the United States Navy, commissioned officers, because Shannon Kent fought that fight, and then the regulation was ultimately changed after her death. And there's a whole effort now too to name a whole ship after her. So
That'd be badass.
I don't know if there's I want you to unsubscribe. What's the name for the community?
The Demolition.
If there's go buy the book.
Autistic fucks out
The
there.
weaponized autism.
Yeah, weaponized autism.
Go buy the book. Send me the true story of a mother at war. But then also,
Literally just bought on Amazon.
and your buddy,
It's such a great
our
read,
friend
man.
Jack Carr wrote a nice little blurb for it right on the cover there. Just go buy the book, but then also, hey, go see if you can't help us get a ship named after Shannon Kent.
Marty, sorry.
Go ahead.
You labored over that thing though. Like this wasn't something you whipped out in 6 months. Like, dude, when he was running a freaking heavy duty independent publication website, 30 freaking staff. And then in every waking moment, like we did a drive from Sioux Falls to Pierre, South Dakota, a good 4 or 5 hour drive. Marty's in the backseat the entire time, working on that book, just laboring over that thing. Like every waking moment, you were working on that thing.
You want to talk about a mood killer? Everybody's joking around in the car, and then I'm like, "Hey guys, can I read you this section real quick?"
Yeah,
and it's about.
It's literally like no. I remember the section you read me.
It's the most depressing.
It
stuff
was
ever.
like I'm like, she died, didn't she?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was a little bit of a mood killer, but yeah, I worked on it as much as I could. And Joe, the book wouldn't be what it is without Joe's efforts on it either. If there's anybody that deserves to have their story heard and told far and wide, it is Shannon Kent. So, and I'll say it now too,
real life
because
G.I. Jane.
yeah, and I'll just say her maiden name is Smith. The Smith family has been through so much. Her younger brother, Mike Smith, was a career Marine Special Operator, EOD. He just retired from the Marine Corps last October, and then just very recently passed away. And he just got buried in Arlington, just not too far from where Shannon is. So that family, they had, the Smith. I won't put their first names out there. Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They had 3 kids. 2 of them now have been lost to the War on Terror. Very, very few families out there, I think, have the level have lost so much in defense of this nation, in service, or rather, I think more accurately, in service to this nation.
The actual true heroes that went through hardships. And it is, I know Cody, we were talking about that earlier. It's like, are you ever going to write a story? And then I hear stories like that. I'm like, nope, because my story is Eli dropped it at high school. Lazy shitbag soldier. Did war, got out, did stuff.
I
hear that, I'm like,
I had
holy
someone
fuck,
say to me one time, like, you never really talk about the war, or like, was it like rough for you? I'm like, I hang out with like Medal of Honor recipients and like Tier 1 people, so what the hell am I gonna say about it?
It's hard because when you're in that, when you're surrounded by those dudes, you're like, oh, I was in gunfight, a lot of gunfights. I'm like, and I just know it gets so normalized. We're like, oh, I was only shot at and blown up a few times. Well, that's nothing.
It's weird
because you see those guys, you're like, holy.
All right, I'm going to go on the alternative. If McConaughey can write a book.
Okay, true. True. But
he probably had a good ghostwriter. Yeah.
Dude, it's been a pleasure having you.
Yeah.
And Jack, you want to do the special one?
Are we doing the special afterwards?
Close it? No, we're not doing that
Okay,
special.
gotcha. Guys, thank you for joining the Unsubscribed podcast. I am joined today by Eli Doubletap, Marty Skovlund Jr., Jack Mandaville, Brandon Herrera, and myself, Donut Operator. Thank you so much. Check us out on Pepperbox.
Where do we find you, beautiful boys?
It's super simple, at Marty Skovlund Jr. I'm sure you guys will get that no problem.
A super
on all
easy
that
name.
platform. Yep.
You can find me in Jared's spare room. Yeah.
And that's it. Mwah, love you.